I guess it really depends on who you ask. I know a lot of places are doing that to sort of promote sales. It's like 2222. Come in for our 2222. Oh, and it's a Tuesday, by the way. So 2220 or 22222 on a Tuesday. Hey guys, we're live. This is the sound check portion of the show.
Oh, we're live?
Yeah, let us know how we sound. Dave, say something.
Something.
We've been having audio issues for 2 weeks in a row now, so please, for the love of God, let us know if we sound even the weirdest bit off.
Yeah, whether it's overmodulating, undermodulating.
Yeah, because the last 2 weeks it's been like overmodulating.
Yeah,
So.
clipping, just kind of or sounding like tinny, or anything like that.
Today!
Got all kinds of activity in the chat already, which is awesome. We love that.
Jason sounds much better than the last two. Okay, well, that's good. That's a start.
There's a good start.
Yeah, I cranked the volume way down.
Yeah.
Before we even plugged in today.
Yeah, well, that's good. Hopefully people... Well, I mean, we'll talk about any changes that may or may not have occurred.
Yeah. We're not going to address it right now, but once we go live, you might notice a little difference in the studio.
That's the reason that we're so fucking tired.
Yep.
Going into this shit today.
So the only sound feedback we've gotten so far is Bronco Fett says I don't sound as bad. So is that it? Is that the best you got for us?
Well, that's a lot coming from Bronco Fett.
It could have just been clicks or X.
Right. This is the worst. Like.
Oh yeah, those. Remember we tried to use those for the longest time, and they would always do that, and I eventually just went, "Fuck it, I'm not doing it."
It's like, all right, I'm good, holding up this minimal amount of weight, and then.
So now Bronco Fett's going click X.
Ah.
Which Bronco Fett? I don't know if you recognize it, but there's a picture right there that might look somewhat familiar if you zoom in.
If you have that capability.
Yeah. Or just put your face really close to the screen. That works, right? It's the same as zooming in?
I mean, it depends. I mean, I have bifocals, right? So I guess if I went like this, I could simulate that, maybe?
Okay.
Or maybe if I did this. I don't. Anyway.
Oh, you've got live show note changes coming.
That's fine. I'll when it's time for me to read, I'll read whatever you put in there. So it's not like I memorized.
Remember, Kelly, just do the thing that we talked about.
Now I'm looking to see what she's changing. Gotta love technology. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, real-time changes right then and there.
I know.
So I'm assuming this means that we sound okay. Nobody said, you sound awful. So it's gotta be good for something, right? I'm tired. I'm really tired.
You know what I was thinking? We should do an episode, like a karaoke episode.
God.
Right? We should do a karaoke episode.
Nothing but us singing karaoke?
Nothing but us singing. And we would only hear the music. Right? So we would have like we'd have earbuds in or whatever, so that we wouldn't get any like copyright issues or anything else. And it would just be us doing karaoke over the airwaves. Without any musical background.
We might get a lot of dislikes.
I mean, any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
Done? It's done?
It's what they call engagement. Doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, it's engagement. And that's all that matters.
I'm going to close out.
Why do you think so many people run like these ultra negative YouTube channels? Because they get a lot of engagement. The people who hate what they say watch them and give them dislikes. The people who agree with what they like give it the like. Thank you, Miss Supergirl 3000. It's almost complete. Almost.
I don't know what she changed. It must be something later.
All right.
I have OG. Hello and good night. He's going to listen tomorrow.
Who's Simon?
I have no idea. Simple Simon the Pieman?
I thought maybe Simon said for him to go outside.
Oh.
I don't know.
I don't know either. There's a whole plethora of things I want to ask Ivo about, but none of them are appropriate for our show.
Wait, something's not appropriate for our show? That doesn't even sound right.
There's a level of seriousness to it that is definitely not appropriate for our show.
Fair enough.
Seriousness in our show that's not a real thing.
Okay, fair enough.
Scott's notes. Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Oh, we got Dragon Buddy in the house. We got Helmet Fire. We got Amanda Hug and Kiss. DJ Red 4.
Chicka chicka chick. Chicka chicka
I think I even saw Backyard TARDIS in there a while ago.
You did.
General Chenobi.
Yes, you did.
All right. It's a party in the chat, as it always seems to be every week. And we have to sit here and do the show while everybody else gets to chat away. You getting your pipes ready?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Warming up the...
Being at the fucking concert last night, singing, just like...
Oh, yeah. Like the next day your throat's all raw.
I was just like... Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, Amanda Hug and Kiss was in front of you guys last night, apparently.
Facts. Factually correct. There was two sets of them, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't even know that vocally I could get to an act tonight.
Really?
I don't know if I can.
So we definitely shouldn't sing the Beach Boys. I definitely shouldn't go, gotta keep those loving good vibrations a happening with her. Gotta keep those loving good vibrations a happening with her. Say, you did all right.
Yeah. Getting there is okay. But acting it's different.
It's a deeper,
it's
like we Bronco Fett's ears. We probably should have warned him.
Oh, with the
Beach Boys incoming.
Yeah.
He's got to know.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to happen almost every.
I mean, you started like the lead in, so at that point you could have paused or done something.
Indeed.
Yeah, we're doing stuff,
making deals. Oh fuck! I guess we're ready.
I think we're ready.
Apparently, our sound is good. Let me start the audio recording.
You should start the audio recording
because I remember things.
You should definitely make sure we have enough space.
Hello.
Did you already do that?
Whoa! I'm off the fucking scale again. All right, I'm gonna turn myself down, and I'm gonna do it again. Hello. I'm still fucking pegged out.
That's weird.
How do I sound? Like when I raise my voice a lot like this, is it like bad? Yeah, because I'm like off the fucking charts whenever I talk, like even a bit loud. And when we're going to be talking about the special editions,
right?
And my voice is going to increase in volume.
That's really weird. I check the settings of the software.
Yeah,
there's got to be something weird with the software.
All right. Helmet Fire said clipping, but somebody else said something else. So I'm going to just crank it down a little bit more. I'm going to crank you down a little bit more, too, to match. So I lowered the volume significantly. And if it sounds like sound is bad when they're singing, whatever. I thought I'm reading a serious comment for a second there. All right. So I turned us down again. Bronco Fett says we still sound great. So we're going to go with this. Yeah, very tinny when you were loud. So I cranked it down again. Hopefully that's enough.
What's it look like? What's it look like on the software?
All right. Well, let me get loud again. Hello. Yeah, same thing.
It's still maxing out?
It's still pegging out. I don't fucking understand. Like the gain is down so fucking far.
Yeah, that's why I'm.
Oh, hang on. Hang on. All right. How about this? How do I sound now? Oh, that's so much better.
What did you do?
So we've got lots of knobs and switches and stuff on this mixer that I didn't really bother to. Still not nice when loud. Huh. All right.
But looks better.
Yeah, it looks better on the fucking...
The waveform looks better.
Yeah. So, hello! Oh, reset mic.
Wow. There's echo in the room.
Yeah.
Maintain listening watch.
Just went bad. All right, how about now?
Testing. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1.
But this is why...
Test. We are testing the microphone.
But yes,
That's what we do.
This is why we went live so early, because we got to get this shit straightened out.
Test.
All right. Anything?
Testing
All right, we got better.
microphones.
All right, I think we're just going to go with this. I'm not going to fucking touch anything else, and we're just going to go with this.
Testing the microphones. 6x5, so we're still loud.
There's some guy yelling at me. Hang on. Dave sounds to me. Fuck. You know what? I'm getting really sick of this whole fucking everybody loves Dave bullshit going on with this show. You know,
It's only been
5 years since
Yeah,
we started
5
the
years.
fucking show, and everybody loves Dave.
I don't know.
Nobody appreciates Jason or what I bring to the table.
I don't know what to tell you, Jason.
They all love Dave and his fucking personality, and
They obviously don't know me that well.
yeah, clearly.
Oh God.
Yeah, but this whole
So-
everybody being on Dave's nuts is getting on my fucking nerves. I'm just saying.
Testing the microphone.
Dave's mic. What does that mean?
Dave's mic is fire. I don't know what
Oh.
that means either. It's a baritone to your soprano.
All right.
You can start working on high notes.
I don't know what's going on.
Fake it till you make it, man.
Yeah.
That's
Well, no, I'm just like curious. Like Bronco Fett says, Jason's mic shit. Like, does that mean that I sound like shit? Or
well, I mean, you're historically, for whatever reason, your mic is the one that has shit the bed.
despite the fact that not only have we changed microphones, we have changed fucking cables.
Yep.
We have changed the ports that I fucking connect into.
Yep.
On the mixer.
Yep, factually correct.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's got to be.
It's gotta be May.
Yeah. It's got to be something to do with your voice modulation. It's the only thing I can think of.
The mixer can't handle it. That's what it is.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
All right.
I think we should be good enough to go. As long,
Sure.
hey, look, this is a podcast,
Indeed.
right? And so long as the audio recording it looks good,
Yep.
then
Snickers. We need more Snickers on the show.
Do we?
That might be the key.
see that's the key to somebody else's show,
Oh.
not our show.
Okay, fair enough.
That's somebody else's stick. That's not our stick.
Yeah. All right. Well, whenever you're ready, give
right.
me a countdown, and we'll get to
ready.
it.
The train just went by, so we probably should do it.
Good
like,
timing.
now.
And do it.
And meow.
To the great John Williams.
To John Williams.
And you know what? I know we've toasted him multiple times before on the show, but who gives a fuck?
I could toast him every fucking time.
Exactly.
When you're online,
And-
on the show.
Yeah, we just found out this last week that he is doing the Kenobi theme for the upcoming Kenobi series starting in May that we
Yes.
talked about. And
Yes.
Yeah, so
yes.
just when you think John Williams is done with Star Wars, he comes back into our lives,
Yes.
and we're all better for it.
Yes.
And even though he's not going to score the whole show, he's going to do the Kenobi theme, which that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's kind of like what he did with he did that
Solo.
with Solo.
Yeah,
it was the same thing. Just jump in there, sprinkle some John Williams magic on it, just so it's good enough to look. It's already going to be markedly better in my mind than it was before because John Williams is involved in it.
And I mean, for fuck's sake, the guy's 90 years old. Like, he deserves a little rest. Like relax for a couple years, John.
I'll give him a little bit of rest, and then prop him up and fucking get out there and get out there and be somebody.
Right, because he hasn't been somebody up to this point.
Fuck, dude, not since the 1960s. Fun fact, sidebar: I was building my essential John Williams playlist today, which ironically was before we decided we were going to toast him.
Right,
and going through his catalog, going through Apple Music, which, again, just further sidebar, the lossless bit with Apple Music, when you're listening to it through a good stereo sound, holy fuck, if it's not the best fucking thing ever. But John Williams, the Star Wars soundtrack, coming through the lossless, I was like, I have to have. So I started making my John Williams essentials, going through Indiana Jones and Jurassic Park and Home Alone and Jaws and fucking, the list goes on and on and on. And fucking E.T., Close Encounters, fucking Schindler's List, Lincoln, all the amount of movies that he's fucking been involved in. Ugh.
Sidebar. So we've talked about John Williams, specifically his Star Wars music on the show. We should do a show where we talk about his non-Star Wars.
We should do his music. Yeah, the everything except Star Wars.
Yeah, because we did our top 5 John Williams tracks in Star Wars.
Yep.
Now we should do
we should
non-Star Wars.
We should absolutely do it.
So we'll put a pin in that. Luna Girl, write that down.
Yes, please do that.
So that all being said, hello everyone, and welcome to the Sidebar Cantina, the podcast where we talk about Star Wars, pop culture, home renovations, or whatever the fuck we feel like talking about. I'm Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here each and every single week, the Bob the Builder to my SpongeBob SquarePants, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Can we build it?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Well, he can.
Yes, we can.
And I can just stand around and watch and make jokes. Because those of you watching on YouTube can hopefully see we have a newly redesigned Starkiller Studios. Mostly just added more storage space for more of the Sacred Jedi pops.
Indeed.
But
and shelving for the sacred texts.
The sacred texts. So yeah, we spent a good portion of the day today doing this redesign, and even before this, and we'll talk about it when we get into our weeks. I prepped the room, got a lot of shit out of here so we could have the room to expand.
Yep.
We'll get into it.
And we got a lot. I think what we should do is we should probably, maybe for Instagram, we'll do a little video walkthrough just so we could get some up close and personal with some of the stuff, because quite frankly, our listeners are so fucking amazing, and we've gotten such great shit, especially from the Escape Pod guys. When they came through before they were at the Escape Pod, and when they came for the 100th episode, behind Jason's shoulder here next to Michigan Vader, they brought us the episode 100 t-shirts, which they're getting ready soon to separate their 100th episode.
Yeah, next week.
So we got that on the wall. We've got the Darksaber now is a little bit more prominently displayed, and as soon as I figure out the lighting a little bit better and not electrocute myself again, you'll be able to see that a little bit better for the YouTube audience. We've got paintings and pictures and hand-stitched art and just so much stuff that we've gotten over the years.
Yeah, it's all been sitting in here collecting dust, cluttering up the room.
Yep.
And finally we did it.
Yeah, we got it up on the walls, and it looks fucking great. So yes, it was hard work today, but it was well worth it.
Yep. And 2 weeks for the Escape Pod. I keep forgetting one or more of them are going to Vegas on vacation. So
Vegas vacation, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But in 2 weeks is their 100th episode. So stay tuned for that. Some people we know might be making guest appearances on there.
So, that would be nice.
So, but, fuck that show, because this isn't the Escape Pod. This is the Sidebar Cantina. And what are we talking about today, Dave?
Well, I believe we're talking about Star Wars.
Yes.
And
this is a Star Wars topic day.
And the 25th anniversary of the special editions.
Yes, because today is specifically the 25th anniversary of the release of Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
Special edition. So we're going to talk about the entire special edition trilogy, the good, the bad, the very ugly, and we're going to kind of just have a fun discussion. A lot of it wrapped up with social media polls and things that Lunar Girl did for us, and it's all going to kind of drive the discussion.
Yep.
It'll be good.
Yep.
Good times.
And listen, this is not the first time we've talked about these movies in particular, but we're going to, scrape at the scabs and the scar tissue a little bit for things about the special editions that were definitely.
Mm-hmm. And maybe we'll even find a positive in there somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
I've got positives.
Okay, good. Before that, we got to talk about Patreon.
You have to talk about Patreon.
All right.
You have the read, sir.
Yes, I do. And if you're enjoying the Sidebar Cantina's content, consider becoming one of our Patreon supporters. For as little as $1 a month, you can support this podcast and help make it possible for us to continue to bring you quality content week after week. We'd like to give a huge shout out to our current patrons, Shotgun Mark, Frank Kulovich, Frederick Martin, Tony Ferrari, Chad Vickers, Scott and Kim from Used and Abused, Ivo G, Kristen Roscom, Nick from Swede Studios, Catherine Rennick, my wonderful mother-in-law, Patricia Goodstein, Don Solsky, Nick Schaefer, David Schmuck, and General Chinobi, who just joined last week. So,
sweet.
We appreciate each and every one of you. If you'd like to consider becoming a supporter, you can find our Patreon at patreon.com/thesidebarcantina. Our Patreon page is also a great place to give us your opinions regarding show topics, which I'm going to talk about here in a second, and the direction of the podcast in general. What do you need, or what do you think of the studio redesign? Do we need more pops? As a patron, we would be contractually obligated to listen to your opinion. Thank you again to all of our listeners and supporters. You are the reason why we do this. So, speaking of polls and the direction of the show, we did another poll last week talking about Dune. We've been getting a lot of requests for Dune, either the movie or books or both. What's that look for?
Because when you say poll, it just sounds dirty.
Like smoke my poll. But
yeah, for some reason. Anyway,
your mind's been in the gutter all day.
Has it?
It has.
Okay.
Like you've had like that's what she said stuff like on the brain the whole time. So
interesting.
I don't know what it is. So anyway, we put up a poll on our Patreon last week, basically asking, what do you want to see us cover as far as Dune goes? I think the options were read the books and cover the first book, watch the original movie, or watch the new movie. And 6 of our patrons chose the new movie, and that was the majority. Some people voted for the old movie, some people voted for the book, but at the end of the day, the new movie won. And we are going to cover that in April.
Yes.
So thank you again to all of our patrons. And this is why you should become a Patreon supporter, because you get to vote in these things and decide our topics.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it. That'll be a good episode.
Yep.
Dune's my thing.
So what do you got over there?
Well, we'll get into a little bit of Red 5. For our Red 5 top stories, I'm going to give a shout out to our West Coast bros over at the Sarlacc Digest, who just hit the big 500 subscriber mark on YouTube yesterday. Congrats. Legit congrats. What are we at? What are we at, subscriber-wise?
YouTube subscribers?
Yeah.
Close to 410, I think.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we should be getting close. That 500 number.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I laid a gauntlet down in the beginning of the year about getting to 500. So I would like to celebrate with our friends at the Sarlacc Digest this year and get to that 500 mark. So make sure you hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, if you're not. But if you're watching now and you're not subscribed, like why? Well, I don't understand.
And you will do it.
And you will do it.
Anyway, shout out to our West Coast bros over at the Sarlacc Digest who just hit the big 500 subscriber mark on YouTube yesterday. Congrats, Sarlacc. Join their pit on Wednesday evenings at 2300, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and find them and the rest of our Red 5 family on audio at bio.link/Red5. That's bio.link/Red, the number 5. Mm-hmm. More Red 5 Network news after the show.
Alrighty. That being said, are we ready to get into our weeks?
Yes.
All right. So for me, what was it? Wednesday last week, had dinner with a couple of friends. Went to this little place called Radizio's.
Oh yeah.
Had some Death by Meat.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So after the show last Monday, Dave's wife called up my wife and is like, "We need to hang out one night. Let's go do Radizio's." And then I get a text from Dave, like, "All right, I'm making reservations for Wednesday." So yeah,
Yep.
we went out to Radizio's. Actually, had a really good night. It was
fun.
It was good getting to hang out. Like I feel like I'd never see Kathy anymore. So
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, fuck, COVID fucked a lot of that anyway. And work schedules and things just being what they were, it was nice to just like, fuck it, we're putting a date on the map. Let's just do it. And damn the torpedoes, and we went out. It was nice.
Yeah,
it was. It was a nice night.
And man, all that meat, all the meat.
It's so delicious, though.
I know.
So delicious. It's like, keep that fucking chicken. See,
yeah,
one,
okay, I don't understand that. What's with you and the chicken? Dave would not eat any of the chicken that they brought around at this place. Like, he refused. Like,
I
vehemently refused to even think about eating any bird at this steakhouse.
So, it's not that I don't like chicken. It's
But chicken's a filthy animal.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that I've had too much chicken. Like, there's too much yard bird in my diet.
Okay.
So when I'm going out to eat, the last thing I want to eat is chicken.
Okay.
If I'm going to have chicken at home all the time,
everybody knew as soon as you walk through the goddamn door,
you're going to have the chicken. But if I'm going out, I'm paying for a fucking meal. I'm not going to pay to have chicken.
But it was good chicken.
I don't give a flying fuck unless it's like hot wings or something like that, where it's like, okay.
What's the difference?
I don't know, the part, the breading,
if this chicken was hot because you wouldn't try it.
I don't want it. I had meat. I had a non-stop fucking avalanche of fucking excellent meat.
Okay.
Non-stop.
Yeah.
Was there a point up until we stopped eating that my plate did not have some fucking meat on it?
No.
And I wasn't shoveling it into my fucking face. Then immediately followed by a fucking slice of cheesecake.
That is true. You were the only one that had dessert that night. So.
Right.
But
yeah, I ate way too much.
But either way, it was good to get outside of this and socialize with Dave and Kathy and
absolutely,
away from the podcast environment.
It seems
nice. Like this is the only time we see each other anymore since we don't work together anymore.
That's right.
It's only on the Monday nights for the show.
At least we have this time. I'm not going to complain about it.
No,
Jason.
No. Mike
check. When I see R2 the Icky, I think like the Chappelle, the sticky icky.
Oh yeah, the sticky is the icky. You want to smoke with the old boy Rick James? All right, hopefully this sounds better. Oh god, it pisses me off that we're having so many audio issues. Mm-hmm. But that's one of the first things we're doing with our Patreon money is getting a new mixer.
Fucking A right.
All right, as soon as we get the all clear, we will move on.
Still? Hang on. Oh, shit. E40 gave me his nickname. I should probably not talk since we can.
All right. Any improvement with my mic? I should write the timestamp down for this. Where's my... So I can edit this out of the audio. It's fucking annoying. Anything? Anybody? Please help me. Help.
You need to talk.
I am talking.
No, keep talking.
I'm talking. This is me talking. Better. Right. Thank you. Jesus. All right. 29 minutes.
Keep talking about your week.
Oh, I know. All right.
Stop molesting that microphone.
So, as you can see, we talked about the redesign of the studio. As part of this whole redesign at the Roscom household, I also moved all of my video game consoles, all of that shit out of the studio here, primarily to make room, but also so I could have like everything set up again in my living room, because my living room like never got used. The only person that would ever go into my living room was my son Adam.
Right.
Nobody was using it. It was a big space too, like very nice space. It's got a bar in there. We got a fireplace, but we're never in there. Like if I'm home, I'm probably in my room at my computer for the 5 minutes that I'm fucking home and not in the studio here,
Right.
or in bed. So, and then my kids, they all just spend time in their fucking rooms upstairs. Nobody goes into that living room. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'm gonna move all my video games in there. And we went to IKEA, bought a bunch of black shelves, and with like these square holes just big enough for the consoles to fit in. And I fit what is it? 1, 2, 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What's 3 times 7? 21. So yeah, I have 21 consoles in those individual slots. Got my big TV in there, and it's fucking glorious. It's not completely done yet, but yeah, that was a big part of the whole.
It does. It looks really good. And yeah, you posted pictures in the Sidebar Cantina Facebook group, and Kathy and I were trying to figure out like how, like, how the hell is he doing this in the living room? Like, it's not against the fireplace, and it's like, how's the furniture going to go? So I got to see it today, and it all makes sense, Kathy.
Yeah. Well, and of course, in that picture, the couches were not in their like final location,
right?
either,
Which made it, we were
all the more confusing. I'm sure.
It was subterfuge was perfect because we definitely were scratching our heads about what the fuck.
Yeah. So the last thing that I had for my week is I've been going to the gym pretty religiously for the past. It's been 3 weeks now, but I'm not like all buff yet. I don't understand. I've been going to the gym for 3 whole weeks. And I'm not like fucking jacked, so I don't
know. Obviously, you need to fucking.
I just
stop
need to quit.
Going.
Yeah, I need to just quit.
You should stop going.
No, realistically, I know this is going to happen because I've done this before. But I did like have that little moment of doubt a few days ago where I'm like, fuck. I've been going to the gym for this long and I'm not seeing any results. It's like, hold on, I've been through all this before. Just gotta stick with it, because that's the thing, and that's how most people give up on diets or workout plans or whatnot, is because they torture themselves for weeks, see no results, and then are just like, fuck it, then why am I even doing this? Because the reality is, this is like, it's not a few week type thing. This is like several months, like to a year type of thing that you need to commit to something like this.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they what?
Well, maybe it's because you ate a bunch of her ice cream.
Really? She's going to bring that up now? First of all, I asked permission before I just took it. So she said it was okay. But whatever. I'm not getting into this right now. So, but anyway, yeah, I've been going to the gym and I've been happy. I've been less sore and more energy throughout the day, just like I remember before I got hurt. So, I'm looking forward to it, and with the warmer weather starting to rear its pretty head every once in a while, it's just things are looking up, and I'm feeling good these days.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So that's all.
That's it.
That's it.
You're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do shit. I say that the only thing that I did, I did a couple things. The big one was last night. Myself, Helmet Fire, who's in the chat, Big Swede, and another friend from the unit. We saw Tool last night, and it was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
it was really, really good. It was kind of a bucket list show for me. Like, I'm at a point.
You'd never seen them before?
I had not seen them before.
Okay. It helped that they played close. They were like in the.
They're in Philly.
Yeah, at
the Wells Fargo.
The Wells Fargo. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had. I'm at a point now where I don't want to, like, bucket list is a weird way to say things, right? Because then, like, you think like, oh, it's like a death thing. For me, it's more my exposure to, like, I don't like being in the crowds, right? Yeah. So if I'm going to go to a concert or if I'm going to go to an event like that, I want it to be this is going to be, I'm going to go this one time, and then there's got to be a really, really good reason for me to fucking go again. And because I used to go to, like, back in the day, I went to fucking Dave Matthews fucking twice a year. You know, I've been to multiple Jimmy Buffett concerts. You know, I would go repeatedly and enjoy myself. Now I'm only going to go for like, all right, I've never seen this band. I really want to see them live before they stop touring or before I really can't go.
Yeah.
So, and Tool was one of them. So, Vickers actually he got the tickets. We got these tickets like months ago.
Yeah.
We got them on the floor, which was fucking great. And yeah, the opening band was fucking terrible. Like, they were. I'm not even gonna say the band name, but their band name had to do with drugs, and you needed to take drugs in order to fucking really appreciate the band. I think
Right.
a lot of them. Especially the guitar player who had no idea like what to do with the guitar when he had it in his hand. But yeah, it's fucking the show started the visuals on its whole show. Like,
Yeah, it looks like you're on drugs. Looking at the background visuals of that thing.
yeah, I showed Jason some of the videos today. Like, I'm struggling to find the words, but it's really. So if you follow Tool at all, like when Tool first came out and became popular, right? They had this really just obscure videos, right? Like you had the sober video, and it was like with the dolls, and it was like just really just weird imagery, right? But that's how they are. Like that's the band. So now picture this progression over the decades, and then get to see them in concert and how they had to visualize all this stuff in certain songs. Mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. And I can imagine, like, if you were on drugs watching this fucking show, you probably had an amazing fucking trip.
Right.
Because the visualization was just out of this world. The show was amazing. Like, Tool is one of those bands that, excuse me, sounds like you're going to get, all right, this is how they sound on their album. This is what they're going to sound like on stage.
Nice.
Just better, right? Which is, not every band can pull that off.
No, like a lot of bands there's a big disparity between like their studio sound and their live sound.
Yeah, that live sound was fucking phenomenal. The visualizations were phenomenal. It was worth every penny of going to get to see them.
Nice.
And yeah, so fucking check.
Do you know who else is coming to Philly later this year?
Foo Fighters?
No. Well, they might be, but that's
They
not
are.
what I'm thinking of. Weird Al.
That would be interesting.
He puts on the best fucking concert.
Yeah.
Like, it's super entertaining. It's well worth it. I'm definitely going to try to go.
Maybe.
You should see him.
He's not on my list, but maybe. We'll see.
All right.
Where's he playing?
I have no idea. I haven't done enough research yet.
Yeah, well, Luna Girl's asking about the drummer. Fucking phenomenal. Fucking phenomenal. The whole, like, I got some really good, like, oh, sidebar. I'm going to give a plug for the fucking iPhone 13 Pro. Right?
Wait, is this the same one that the camera broke the first week
Yeah.
that you had it? Okay.
The camera broke that I got fixed, right? Which thank God I did, because I was standing, or we're on the floor, but it was like section 6, right? But so picture like the stage. You're on the hockey ice, right? It's the hockey rink, and the stage is at one end of the ice, and you're just beyond the center line.
Okay.
On the other side of the ice. So I'm standing there taking video. I was able to zoom in to the point where like I could really see the guys on stage with my fucking camera phone.
Yeah.
I was blown away by how good that was in the lighting conditions and where I was, and with my fucking shaky ass hands. Like how good that thing was. Like fucking cheers to fucking the iPhone for being able to put that technology in my fucking hand.
Yeah.
And cheers to fucking Tool for having. It was a no. They did not want you, no camera, no fucking video at all.
Right.
Right. They were like really fucking enforcing it. The security people had laser pointers and fucking flashlights, and were like fucking with people the whole time.
Wow.
And then that last song, Maynard was on the stage is like, all right, fuckers. All right, get out your fucking cell phones. I'll let you record this last song, and you know, of course, everyone got out their fucking phones and recorded it. So, no, it was a great show. It was fucking awesome. Tool, like I said, worth every penny. Tool's a great band, and their performance was amazing. So, if you get the opportunity to see them, you need to do it. So yeah, but it was late. Vickers drove, and he dropped me off first before he headed home. So I don't even know what time he got home, but it was like midnight.
Well, thank God we were off work today.
Yeah, fuck. So. Yeah, I got to sleep in a little bit and fucking just kind of slow roll my day before I came here to do my manual labor.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. So earlier in the week, the only other thing I really had going on is I got accepted into the master's program.
Oh, so you are going to do that, huh?
Yep, I fucking got accepted.
He's a glutton for punishment, people.
I am. I'm doing the Masters of Human Factors. I got everything lined up. I had my meeting with the advisors and going to submit for my civilian TA and do the whole thing. And yeah, it's going to be fucking intensive. Like I would imagine. You're only allowed to take one course per semester. Like it's not and
each course is pretty intense.
Ugh. Yeah, Embry-Riddle considers one course full time.
Jesus.
Yeah, so 1 3-credit course is full time. So
and how many of those do you have to take?
11.
11 courses or credits?
11 courses. It's 33 credits, but that's including the research and the thesis and all the other stuff.
And you only take one per semester?
So it's like a 2.5 to 3 year program. I can take longer. I just have to have it done in 7 before the end of 7 years.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So it'll be intensive, but what I'm looking forward to is working on something that's interesting the entire time. Yeah. Not working on something that's like, okay, this is part of this curriculum. You're doing it because you have to, not because you want to. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Because you're interested in aviation. That's always been your thing.
Yeah. Well, and this is the human factors bit is so much more than the aviation. Like, this is going to be a lot more about like human cognition and like how your brain, like how everything works in your body and everything else. Because for me, because of some of the things I have wrong with my my nervous system, like there's stuff that I'm hoping that throughout my research and I'll be able to learn a little bit about like why maybe my body doesn't work as good as it should, you know, since I had gotten sick, and you know how that affects everything, you know.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, you know, why does somebody like me why can't I go on flying status? Like why can't I maintain my medical because of these particular conditions, because of what goes on with your cognition and how your body works and everything. Yeah. So there's all these levels to that, and you're going to do this research and everything else. So I'm terrified, right? Because I feel like it's going to be really hard, but I'm excited, and it'll be it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I got accepted. So great. It's going to be awesome. I start next month. I think March 22nd is my first day of classes. So the first day of the next 3 years of my life, working towards that.
And I'm sure we'll hear a lot about it here on the show.
Yeah, watching me fucking suffer or be super excited about it, and probably asking all of you to participate in research studies, because I'm sure I'm going to need it.
All right, fair enough. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, excellent. Do you need a break or anything before we get into the main topic?
No, I'm good.
All right, well then let's do it. It was the winter of 1997. Bill Clinton was still president, and a young Jason Roscom had just enlisted in the military about a year before. And George Lucas was preparing to start filming the prequels, and decided, you know what, let's do something else to kind of put Star Wars back on the brain of all of my devoted followers. And he released these special editions in theaters of the original trilogy. Now, today is the 25th anniversary of the release of Empire. We're going to talk about all of the special editions. And, we'll figure out if it was a good thing, a bad thing, or what. But as we always do when we talk about movies, we kind of get into our history a little bit.
Right.
So, starting with me, like I said, I had just joined the military in early 1996, had gone through my initial boot camp and then my first technical school. And my first and only permanent duty station was here in New Jersey. Remember, California boy, born and raised in Southern California, left the state like once or twice my entire life.
Right.
Saw snow one time before I joined the Air Force. That kind of gives you an idea where I'm coming from.
Right.
First duty station, New Jersey. Get out here. Don't fucking know anybody. Don't have a fucking car. I'm just completely stuck on base in Jersey. Thankfully, I had met a friend. His name was Jim. We've talked about him quite a few times on the show. He's told me about the public transportation system that they have here in New Jersey, because he's a guy from New York, very familiar with public transportation. Apparently, the Northeast, you guys actually thought this shit through and planned it out and had a pretty good system in place. Don't even ask about it in California or anywhere on the West Coast. But yeah, he told me about this bus schedule that the bus would pick you up right outside the gate, the main gate on McGuire, and it would take you up through Morristown, New Jersey, the Morristown Mall, and then up to Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and then you catch it going back. Took for fucking ever though, took well over an hour to get from base to fucking the Morristown to the Cherry Hill Mall.
Oh, for
on
sure.
A bus, because you got to make every goddamn stop along the way.
Yeah, and let's not forget, McGuire Air Force Base is in the middle of the sticks in New Jersey, right?
Yes.
People, I think, don't realize that have never been to New Jersey and only understand New Jersey from The Sopranos or from the fucking what was that other idiot show? The fucking
Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what they think New Jersey is. When in reality, New Jersey is mostly fucking farmland and forest.
Yep.
Right. There's a couple of really densely populated areas. We happen to be sitting in one of them, and the other one is up closer to New York. Otherwise, it's fucking farmland. Like, when we drive to work every day, I know for me, I deliberately get off at an exit that I'm driving through a small town, and then I'm driving through farms almost the entire time.
Yep.
Right? And that's almost an hour of commute. So, yeah, get a bus out in the middle of fucking nowhere, making several stops to start getting towards civilization, I can imagine would take at least an hour.
Yeah. So
What the actual fuck is that?
Motorcycle, I think.
Oh, motorcycle. Jesus Christ.
So I had been following the development of the special editions pretty closely because I was subscribed to the Star Wars Insider magazine, and what little access to the internet I had and a couple other news sources I was following, and I knew what was coming in the special edition. So I was pretty hyped about it. Because in the mid-90s, we started to kind of have this Star Wars revival, and we've talked about it a little bit on the show, between the new lines of action figures that were released, the special editions, all kind of building towards the prequels. And that was all deliberate, too. That was all to kind of get the shit back out there. The Micro Machines, which I think you're going to have something to say when we get to your history with this. So anyway, I was super hyped about this, but of course I had no fucking way to get around. Thankfully, I found this bus schedule, or my friend put me onto this bus schedule, and every weekend when these special editions would come out, I'd hop the bus, take it to the fucking Morristown Mall, because they had a United Artists Theater attached to the mall, and each of the opening weekends, or at least of the first two, I got on the 317 bus on Saturday morning, drove it to the fucking theater, and then I'll take one for Star Wars, please, and walked in, and watched them both by myself. Because I didn't fucking know anybody. My buddy Jim would go home to New York every weekend, so I couldn't watch them with him. And yeah, I'd go and fucking watch them by myself. And at the time, I'm like, oh, this is so cool, seeing all the changes and everything. The opinions changed very quickly. But for the Return of the Jedi, I actually was home on leave during that time. So I went back home to Bakersfield, California, and I saw that with a group of my friends. And one little anecdote from that was, the end after Luke beats down Vader, chops off his hand, and then Palpatine's like, now fulfill your destiny, take your father's place at my side. Luke says, fuck off, tosses his lightsaber.
Right.
Because like surround sound was still kind of like coming to its own at this point. Like you had this moment where Luke tosses the lightsaber, and then you hear just in the back corner of the theater, tink, 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 as the lightsaber hits. And I thought that was so fucking cool. And then when we got out of the theater, that's all my friends talked about. They're like, did you hear when he fucking threw the lightsaber? And I'm like, oh yeah, that was pretty sweet.
That's actually a cool fucking memory.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I saw those. And just one other thing I wanted to bring up before we get into yours, I was also listening to a lot of Howard Stern at the time because I was in aircraft maintenance in the mornings, and we'd work the launches for the airplanes. And when we weren't fucking like working on a plane, they'd have Howard Stern on the radio. So
Right.
I listened to Howard Stern like every morning during the week. And this was as his movie Private Parts was coming out, because Private Parts was released, I think it was in between Empire and Jedi's special edition releases. And like once it was all said and done, Stern blamed those movies for Private Parts not being as successful as it was. Which, I mean, a lot of that's just him being him.
Right.
But, yeah, just another weird memory I have of that time. But Private Parts was good. I really like that movie.
That actually was not a bad movie.
Which obviously is celebrating its 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
Also.
Which we probably won't talk about because, I mean, Star Wars.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's my history in a nutshell. What about you?
So, like you, I enlisted in the Air Force in 1996, and my enlistment, though, my basic training didn't start till January 97. So, in 97 to February 97, I was in basic, and in February 97, I ended up at Keesler Air Force Base, just like you would.
Mm-hmm.
You
Down
had
in
been.
Mississippi?
Yep. Down in the Redneck Riviera, and... you know, save Biloxi, kill an airman. So while I was down there, the special editions had gotten just released. So like January 31st of 97 is when New Hope was released. And when you first get down there, like there's these phases, right? Mm-hmm. And this is like you're there for tech school. So the idea is that the longer you're in your technical school, like when you first get there, it's kind of like basic training still. Like they have a pretty tight leash on you. Then the longer you're there, like we were in our school for almost 9 months.
Yeah.
Right. When it came down to it. So
It was a long time.
after like 3 months of being there, you're kind of like you pretty much have the run of the place. Like they don't keep tabs on you the same way. But for those first few months, it's like they're close tabs. So the first time I went downtown. In Keesler to go to the movies, I was in uniform.
Yeah.
Like we had to go down there in blues. Mm-hmm. So went and they had a trolley. I don't know if you remember that trolley.
Oh yeah.
That went down on 98 and took the trolley down, and like they basically drop you off like at the little area where the movie theater was, and it was me and one of the guys I had been in basic with. We ended up being roommates in tech school. And we stopped at Schlotsky's Deli. There was a Schlotsky's Deli, which was right outside the Biloxi Mall there. Mm-hmm. And I love that fucking place. Like even coming from like this area and having like all these great sandwich places here, like all the best fucking hoagies and bread and everything else. For whatever reason, I loved that fucking Schlotsky's. Mm-hmm. So I had Schlotsky's Deli, and then went to the Toys R Us. Because on the way to the movie theater, there was a Toys R Us right there.
Yeah, because there was a mall. Right across the street from the mall was another shopping center.
Right.
At the end of that was the Toys R Us.
Right.
And then around the corner from that was the movie theater.
Right, exactly. So...
all of that's gone now, by the way.
Oh, it's fucking... Yeah,
yeah, it's a Walmart there now.
Katrina fucking...
Well, yeah, Katrina shit-wrecked the whole place, but then they put up a Walmart where the Toys R Us and the movie theater used to be.
Oh, wow.
Sad face.
So... yeah, went into the Toys R Us, and you talked about the micro machines. So I meant to bring some with me, because these weren't the micro machines that we've talked about on the show, like the small, the teeny tiny ones.
So small.
So small. not the teeny tiny ones. We're talking about the ones that were about a little bit bigger than softball size.
Yeah.
But
But they were still under the Micro Machine brand,
Yes.
which was funny.
Why? What is happening right now? So, but they were fucking amazing. The detail was amazing, and I was like, oh, I need to have a TIE fighter.
Oh, of course.
Immediately. So I bought one, and then we went and saw fucking New Hope. Then got back on the fucking trolley, get back to the base, and then a couple weeks later, Empire gets released.
Yep.
So the next time we get to go down there, or don't have to be in blues the next time. And then subsequently, as the rest of them come out, I'm still down at Keesler Air Force Base. I end up seeing all 3 movies. They all get released down at Keesler, and I saw them multiple times.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah, because there was nothing the fuck else to do.
Right. Oh, yeah, no, trust me. I saw a shitload of movies when I was down there also.
We would go to the mall, go to fucking Schlotsky's. Every time I was go to the movie theater, though, I'd be in Toys R Us buying goddamn Micro Machines. And it got to the point where in my dorm room, like on my desk in the dorm room, I had fucking the Micro Machines all fucking, like I had X-Wings flying against the fucking TIE fighters and the TIE Bomber and the fucking TIE Advance, and the AT-AT would fucking be walking around. It was fucking great. Ask my roommate, John McDonald. He fucking would bust my balls about it, but they were fucking great. Sadly, I still have most of those. Yeah. But some of them disappeared one form or fashion, and I've recollected some other ones because I think that scale, that model scale, is one of the best ones. I mean, like Black Series figures is probably the best action figure scale that I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. But that Micro Machines, as far as like actual ships, like for that scale, I think that's the best that they've ever made.
And it makes sense too, because like the Micro Machines are too small, so small, where you can't really get a lot of good detail in there. There was some decent detail, but with something that size, you can still get a good amount of detail, and you can still like play with them.
Yeah, and I still do.
I didn't catch you playing with your dolls again, sir.
That's right, exactly. But yeah, so I got to see them multiple times while I was down at Keesler. And yeah, it was one of our favorite things to do. And there was times where that was a considerable distance from the base, right? It was probably 3 miles? Yeah. Maybe a little bit more. We had actually walked several times from the back gate at Keesler all the way to the fucking mall.
That's crazy.
To and end up going to the movie theater because there wasn't fuck all else to do.
Yep. And just one other side note, our social media director, Lunar Girl, had her first date with her husband, Dragon Buddy. I believe it was at the New Hope Special Edition. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat there, Kelly, but I'm pretty sure their first date was watching one of the special editions.
I do believe you're correct because it was the 31st of January.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so Star Wars bringing everybody together. Speaking of Kelly, our social media director.
Yes.
We do a segment on the show every week called This or That, where said social media director puts a poll up on our Instagram. And what is our Instagram, Dave?
At the Sidebar Cantina.
And she gives you 2 options, and you pick an option, and we go over the results here on the show. Obviously, this week being about the special editions, she has some real spicy questions. And we got some even more spicy responses, and these are going to drive our initial discussions.
Spicy trolling
of the special edition.
That's what this is.
All right, so let's hop into it and see what our Instagram followers had to say about some of these. Yeah, sorry, you're just going to have to either throw it or. Nice, good job,
thank you.
So. The original Sarlacc Pit versus the 1997 Sarlacc Pit, or as I like to call it, the Little Shop of Horrors.
Shop of Horrors. So I went with the original.
Yeah.
Right? However, I'm going to be controversial here.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
However, I can understand why somebody might lean towards the 1997 version of the Sarlacc Pit.
Why? Give me one good reason.
Book of Boba Fett.
But that came after.
Facts. But if somebody like, so it's about exposure, right? So we were exposed to Star Wars at a time when this was this was the original Starlight Pit,
Okay,
right?
that's a fair point because we were very intimately familiar with the original trilogy unaltered,
Right.
quote unquote. More on that in a minute.
Right.
So kids today, like my kids, your kids,
Right.
are probably far more familiar with the special editions than they are the original.
All right. And the having that additional, like watching it with the Book of Boba Fett, it's like, okay, this I don't know. I want to say extra animation, but that's not really what I'm trying to drive at. Having this extra like movement and this extra ability with the Sarlacc makes more sense with what the 1997 special editions presents than the other thing. So I can't fault somebody who is a present day Star Wars fan that says, okay, this is how this is my Sarlacc pit. This is what I grew up on, and now I'm watching Book of Boba Fett, and all this makes sense and is all
Yeah,
together.
it all comes together.
Right.
Yeah, when the mouth fucking bites the
Yeah.
ship that you knew was coming, like
Well, I mean,
100 miles away.
but regardless, like I said, I voted for the OG, but I understand.
Yeah, well, obviously I voted for the OG too because my biggest complaint, aside from the Little Shop of Horrors mouth, is it looks out of place when you compare it to the rest of what's going on. It just feels out of place. Like when there's one scene where it's got the dude by the tentacle, or the tentacle's got like one of the Jabba's dudes, and it just pulls him down, and that's normal. It's
Right.
that seems fine. But then in the special edition, they added the mouth, so it's pulling him down, and then the mouth just gobbles him up. Where
Yeah.
that kind of takes away a lot of how I understood how this whole fucking thing worked. Either way, 51% liked the 1997 version.
Like
So,
I said, I understand why.
yeah,
I understand why.
I guess. Okay, Cy Snoodles rocking Lopty Neck or Jedi Rocks. So obviously this is the band in Jabba's palace, which George, you go back and you watch the interviews. Okay, and we're gonna shit a lot on George during the course of this discussion, but I'll give him a little bit of credit. I would imagine as an artist, as somebody who, like a visionary like him, who has this grand vision of the way you want your movie to be, probably being quite the perfectionist and being very unhappy with no matter what the final result is.
Right.
Being unhappy with it and always thinking you can make some changes up to the last minute. So I can understand like somebody who's like super obsessive about their artwork, kind of like constantly wanting to revisit it and change things and fix things to make
Yeah.
it slightly better. So I get it. But anyway, you go back and you listen to interviews with George around this time, and he said he always pictured this to be like a grand like performance thing. He expected it to be much larger than what we got in the original. But see, for me, the original, it seems so fucking just like low budget, scummy, dirty, like exactly what you would think of in
Yeah.
Mos Espa. And that's what we're presented with in like even Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
It's just like a kind of a shitty, dingy area. And this is the kind of band, the original, that you would see in there, you know, the daddy iski. And
Yeah.
she's got like the saggy tits and like the small bikini like hanging down over her belly, and like she's just like got this like weird like stiff animation, but I thought it was great.
I don't disagree. I think the Jedi Rocks, the overproduction of it's out of place.
Yeah, very, very out of place. Like, it's all CG. It's fucking stupid. Like, a lot of it is, like, prequel type stupid. And this is where we should have known where some of the shit in the prequels was going to go.
Well, all right. So, I mean, this is as good a place as any to say this, but George obviously had, like you were talking about, had this vision, right? And he had access to this is what I'm going to do with this CGI, right? This is how I can make, not only I'm going to make it with this movie that's coming out, but I can make this movie better for the things that I wanted to see before, but I couldn't because
Yeah.
I didn't have the technology.
Right.
I have the technology now, so I'm going to do it. Just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you should do a thing.
Kind of like the kid who learns about jerking off, and at first he's just like, "Fuck!" Ah! It's just like do it everywhere before you learn how to control it, and you know how.
Yes, just like you said, when he's fucking the couch because he just don't know what the fuck to do with it.
Oh yeah, so it's
Prepubescent boys are fucking gross.
Indeed.
But anyway,
but we don't know any better.
Jenna Rocks is fucking. It's just.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good at all.
I'll never fucking watch it again if I can help it.
No.
But
The fact that it's even on the soundtrack too annoys me.
yeah,
Like when you get the remastered soundtrack, and no, it doesn't belong there.
yep. Thankfully, I have some of the original soundtracks, so I can get the original Lapti Neck anytime I want, which is actually different from the version you hear in the movie. That's a discussion for another time. Getting to the results, the original one, 65% to 35%, so at least our IG followers have some fucking sense. All right, so we're talking.
A simple majority does.
Yeah, we're talking about the Jabba the Hutt scene. So obviously, we all knew that they were going to add Jabba the Hutt back into the cut of A New Hope. Now, I had never seen or even heard about the Jabba footage from A New Hope until they were getting ready for making the special editions. Like my buddy Jim, he allegedly knew that this scene was out there. He had seen it in some like pirated VHSs or whatever of the dude, the human guy, as Jabba in that deleted scene with him and Han in the bay. So obviously, after the theatrical cut came out, we only knew of Jabba by name. We didn't see him. And again, this is one of those times where I call bullshit on something that George says, because there's been a couple of times where I'm like, that's fucking horseshit. You're fucking lying just to kind of like make your narrative look better. He's like, well, I always pictured Jabba to be a big slug, so I just assumed we'd film this with the human guy in there and then add the slug in later. I'm like, you fucking liar.
Nope.
You are full of shit.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, it's probably because somebody was watching it and they're like, this scene kind of sucks. It slows down the movie. It really has no point. Let's just cut it out of there. But anyway, talking about that scene, obviously we had it for the special editions, but they also kind of touched it up a little bit for the 2004 DVD release. Now, here's the thing, too. Like, every iteration of the home video, and even on fucking Disney Plus, all these movies get tweaked a little bit every single fucking time. And George has been doing this. He's been doing this from the very beginning. Even when the original was still out in theaters, he fucked with it a little bit. So it's not without precedent. But it's kind of hard to, like, you know, keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on when it's fucking constantly changing. But they made some changes in 2004. The biggest one that I remember to this Jabba scene was when Han walks behind him, right? Because that's the big fucking continuity error when you compare that original scene that they filmed with him and that human, because Han walks behind him,
right?
Because it's just a dude standing there. Now all of a sudden you got Jabba the Hutt, CG Jabba the Hutt back there. Han walks behind. It's like, oh fuck, what do we do? So they make him stand on the tail or step on his tail.
Yeah, walk on the tail, otherwise known as like cut the film awkwardly so that it kind of like.
Yeah, and that original '97 version looked pretty bad.
Yeah, it didn't. It wasn't as clean as.
And they smoothed it out in later iterations. Yeah. And honestly, knowing Jabba and how fucking ruthless he was, if Han actually fucking did that to him, how would he not have just like immediately been killed?
Well, I think Jabba has a soft spot for Han regardless. So I don't know about that part of it. Mm-hmm. Like that's a whole nother debate. But and I don't necessarily, I don't even have a problem with what George is doing with the fucking scene, but yeah, this isn't the worst. This isn't the most heinous thing of it. Like,
no,
it's reinserting a deleted scene for something that, like, okay, this character, I made this character into something else entirely when it came down to it. So I'm going to have to go ahead and fucking either if I want this scene in there, I'm gonna have to do some fucking squirrely shit here and do it the best I can. So we did. Whatever.
Yeah. And they made Jabba look a little bit more like Jabba too in the 2004. So obviously that's what I went with. And 76% of the people also said that. But just, George, don't fucking bullshit me and say that in 1977 you have, envisioned someday you would replace this human actor with a CG Hut.
Yeah, I highly doubt that, especially because the human actor was like he dressed like a fucking gunslinger and everything else. I mean, I've seen the footage. Yeah, he's dressed like a bounty hunter or like somebody. So yeah, no, there's.
All right, so talking about the Force Ghosts at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Do you prefer the prequel trilogy Anakin being in there or Old Man Anakin?
Old Man Anakin.
So I'm with Old Man Anakin too. I voted for that, but this is like kind of like the way you were with the Sarlacc pit. I understand why people would be cool with young Anakin, but if they did that, they should have gone with fucking Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan as well. If you ask me.
Yeah.
And this.
Well, yeah, because. All right. So you're going to put Hayden Christensen in that fucking scene, right? He wasn't like when he died. He was fucking Sebastian. No, oh fuck, what was his name?
Hayden Christensen?
No, the guy who played Vader.
Sebastian something, not Sebastian Stan. That's a different actor.
Fuck. Anyway, that'll come to me later, or somebody in the chat will fucking tell me. Anyway. He was killed as an old man, right? So the Force Ghost, as represented earlier, represents how they were when they passed.
True. Yeah.
So why change it to Hayden Christensen? It doesn't. It seemed extraneous and it affects the timeline because it doesn't affect the timeline, but it's not really not necessary. Like if some things are unnecessary. Shaw. Thank you. Why did I remember Sebastian but not the last name? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
But yeah, I 100% disagree with this. The understanding bit or whatever, like I don't have a problem with Hayden Christensen at all. Yeah. This is not what I have a problem with. What I have a problem with is the fact that you're making this change and not having that continuity with the other two characters. Like that's not young Yoda. That's not young fucking Obi-Wan. Mm-hmm. So why are you doing this with fucking Anakin?
Yeah.
Just because you have this other fucking Anakin Skywalker.
Well, and
it's bullshit. It's 100% bullshit.
Well, and that's why George did a lot of these changes is because he could. Not because they were better, but just fuck it, let's try it.
Nope. This one I can't fucking get behind.
A couple of things. First of all, this wasn't even in the original special editions because they hadn't made the prequels at this point. So it was still Sebastian Shaw in there for the Return of the Jedi special editions
in 97.
In 97, right? Then they added him later for the home video releases. But there's also different versions of Hayden Christensen there because there's one where he's got this creepy fucking look on his face. He's basically looking at the camera like this. Right? And it's like, God, what the hell's going on? And then they eventually changed it to where he's just like, so again, George constantly fucking tweaking this shit when you probably should have just left it alone to begin with.
You should have never fucked with it. Yeah. You're right. You should have never fucked with it. There's no reason to. Mm-hmm. Just, this is the guy. This is what he looked like when he died. Cool.
Yeah.
Fucking be done with it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, I don't know if you've ever seen it. There's a video on YouTube where somebody, they made a fake thing where, where Luke takes fucking Vader's helmet off. And it's, Sebastian Shaw.
Sebastian Shaw.
And, he has the speech with Luke where somebody they CG'd Hayden Christensen's face in there, but it was like real shitty quality. And it's like, the newest change in the special editions, Hayden Christensen in the mask. And he takes it off and it's like, it looks terrible, but it was funny. So, yeah. So anyway, original trilogy only won 58% to 42%. Well, again, I can understand from the prequel kids.
No.
Okay.
No. Right. Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
No. Even the prequel kids. No. And I'm one of those fucking OG trilogy guys that will give the prequel kids a lot of fucking credit. I will give you most of the things. Mm-hmm. I 100% will do that. I'm way more forgiving than most. But this is not one of them. This 100% is not one of them.
All right.
Fuck you. Fuck George. Fuck Hayden Christensen as the Force Ghost. Absolutely not.
I just want the record to show I did vote for old man Anakin.
I don't care.
But I'm just saying I understand the other point of view. Now this one, this is black and white. This is either you're right or you're a fucking idiot. So who shot first?
Hand shot first.
Probably the most controversial of all of the changes in the special editions. Han shooting first versus Greedo shooting first in the special editions and beyond. Yeah. Yeah. So, again, trying to see the other point of view. Like, okay, did Han really just kill Greedo in cold fucking blood? Or was it like he had no fucking choice? Because the argument is, like, Han's not a murderer. He wouldn't just kill him in cold blood, you know? It's like, well, let me just say this. If some random asshole had a gun pointed in my face and I just happen to have a gun underneath the fucking table,
I'm going to shoot you.
Yeah, that guy's fucking dead.
Yeah.
I don't care
if I can get my gun off, then yes.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have just the dude's just standing there. Mm-hmm. Or the dude's fucking standing there with a knife or something, and there's a table in between you. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing. But he's already has the gun drawn.
Yeah.
Standing there pointing it at you.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you. You're
Yeah.
done. If I can get my gun off, then I'm going to shoot you.
Yes. And that's what we all knew had happened for the first 20 years that we were watching this movie. Han fucking shot first. It was a little cold, but it was necessary. Like, he had to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Not cold. It's not fucking cold. And listen, this is what the biggest thing that pisses me off about the whole Han shot first thing is this idea that they want Han to be a hero character,
right,
and to sully the fucking hero character at all by this idea that because he shot first that he would be villainized for some reason is, dare I say, the fucking the embryo of the fucking woke culture, you know, coming into that. It's like, if he had shot first, then he can't possibly be a good character or good something to follow. He was a fucking drug smuggler.
Yeah.
Right? The entire premise of this individual was he was a smuggler. Mm-hmm. Regardless of whatever the fuck it was. He could have been human trafficking. He could have been fucking drugs, money, whatever. He's already a fucking criminal.
Yeah.
Right? So
he's working for Jabba the fucking Hutt.
He's like, if you're talking about villainizing somebody, let's start with that. Yeah. Let's start with the fact that he's already a criminal. Changing something for the sake of, well, you know, I don't want Han to shoot first because I don't want people to think he's a bad guy. Then don't make him a criminal.
Yeah.
From the jump, right? Just don't do it.
And I mean, I hate to break it to all those people who. First of all, I couldn't imagine anybody actually complaining about that. But he was the most popular character. He was very beloved amongst all the Star Wars fans throughout the fucking 80s and 90s. Like, everybody loved Han. And nobody that I ever talked to ever said, well, you know, he wasn't a great character because he shot Greedo first. And it's like, no, nobody fucking said that. Nobody gave a shit. It was not an issue until the scene was fucking changed. Then all of a sudden it starts this whole fucking debate and everything else when it never should have happened in the first place. And then you add on the fact that the animation looked fucking retarded. Because the first iteration was Greedo like shooting like boom, like it like goes way over Han's fucking head, right. And then he fucking shoots, and then they change it to where the blaster's closer, and like they make Han kind of duck, but it's again just like when he walked behind fucking Jabba, it's very unnatural looking.
Yeah,
because that's not what really happened with the footage.
It's changing.
And then don't get me started on McCronkey that they added on Disney Plus, which again, why? What was the fucking point of that?
I don't know, dude. That's I don't know. I don't know. But I think we as Star Wars fans know that Han shot first, and that's been a rallying cry for hardcore Star Wars fans for years.
It's been referenced in other movies many times. Yeah, as like a joke.
So we all know what that is. And honestly, if you have a problem with Han shooting first and you feel like, well, I can't follow this series or watch these movies if Han Solo was the one that shot first, then don't watch these fucking movies.
Yeah.
Stop.
You won't be missed.
Yeah, just stop watching the fucking movies because reasons. I don't need you watching. I don't need you enjoying my fucking movies. Stop, please. Yeah. And I'll shoot you first.
Yeah. Well,
especially if you have a gun in my fucking face.
Right.
I'll shoot you for less. I'm not afraid.
Shoot your ass for $5 and a biscuit. Apparently, there's 22% of our Instagram followers that we also need to.
There's 22% trolls. That's what it is.
Well, yeah, because in the voting, Han won 78% to 22% Greedo. That doesn't seem fucking possible. Doesn't seem possible.
I'm telling you, they're all trolls.
It's got to be
every one of them.
Like, who the fuck? And if you do follow us on Instagram and you truly do believe that Greedo should have shot first, unfollow us.
Well, there was a Twitter poll as well, right?
Okay, yes, there was a Twitter poll.
Right.
And she, again, asked who shot first. 91% on Twitter went with Han, but still, 9% went for Greedo.
Right. I'm telling you that this is the majority of those 9 votes and the other votes that were on Instagram, that those are trolls. And there may be 1 or 2 people that are going with the fucking Greedo bit, but I can tell you that their opinion does not matter.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so before we get into
I also have
the meat of the discussion, I think we just have to deal with one little issue first.
Yes.
But yeah, we're gonna take a very quick break and be right back after this word from our sponsors.
Trying to
nice. All right. You gonna go first?
I gotta. Yeah.
All right.
Look at all this room over here.
I know.
Shit.
Now we just need a urinal over there in the corner, and we'll be good. Alrighty, let's get caught up on the chat a little bit. This is the one that pissed me off. Saboteur! I just got a text from my lovely wife, who I normally love very much. She voted for Greedo just to piss me off. Serenity now. Lunar Girl is censoring herself in the chat. Everybody agreed Old Man Anakin. Dave's fucking phone is vibrating like crazy. Like, he's not that fucking popular. All right, so it looks like everybody's pretty much in the comments is on board with most of the originals too. Oh my god, what is taking him so long? And he's back.
It's weird.
The studio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back.
What is that?
What?
It's like a shell. A nutshell or something.
Acorn, maybe?
I have no idea.
All right, what'd I miss? Rodinian lives matter? No, they don't. No, they don't. Goddamn Rodinians. let's see. Whip, stir. Where's the... Oh, you can't see it. But the stir with which one whips is, they're over there on the shelf. Thankfully, I'm the only one on camera when my wife checks in and says, "Hi, babe."
There's somebody like right outside.
I know. I'm
like talking like right there.
I know. It's like, thank God this fucking bush is here.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we need to put that urinal right there.
I mean, I guess there is room now.
Oh, Clicko?
What?
My life's mission is to annoy Jason. His tears give me life.
Who said that? Was it Kristen?
No.
Who the fuck was it?
What do you think
Was it Bronco
was?
Fett?
No, it was not. Who do you think it was?
If it wasn't Kristen, if it wasn't Bronco Fett, who else wants to annoy me? I'm a good guy.
I don't know, but look at these fucking things.
No, hold on. Who the fuck said that? I want to know. Where was it?
It's in the chat.
How far up?
It
was her!
I had it displayed on the screen. All you had to do was look.
I was tabbed out.
Look at this fucking deliciousness right here. Look at this shit. OMG. You gonna have one?
Let me try one.
Oh,
He'll do one. He'll do one. It tastes like a Thin Mint around a pretzel. Fill it up again.
As advertised. Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Thank you, Kristen and Costco. Yes. All right. Ready?
I'm just getting my place in the thing. So I guess we're just going to talk about some of the changes in each individual movie. Mm-hmm. And then kind of go from there.
Get the list.
All right. Do it. And we're back. So, let's get into some of the finer details of the special editions. And again, I want to reiterate the things that George did with the special editions and even with the tweaks on home video and everything afterwards, not unprecedented for him. He's been fucking with the shit since the original movie was out in theaters, and he would constantly fuck with it with home video releases, Laserdisc. When it came out on Laserdisc, he'd do a lot of changes. A lot of it's dialogue changes, just like using different takes of dialogue. And I'm to the point now where I'm like, I don't even know what's real anymore, because I'm reading some of these changes and it's shit that was made in like the early 80s. And I'm like, well, fuck, which version did I hear originally? Which version was the one that I had on like this fucking super VHS set right here?
Right.
And because, you know, I kind of wonder, like, if it was a lot of different audio takes. Like, just for instance, one of the ones that I read was a simple line of dialogue when Luke goes, Echo 3 to Echo 7, Han, old buddy. Yeah, and that was apparently a different take in the original theatrical release of that they changed for home video. Just a different take of the audio, like maybe some different inflections on some of the words, but...
Oh, I did know that, yeah.
It just makes me think, like, God, like, how different... If you go back and you compare the version that's out there right now on Disney Plus versus that original theatrical cut,
yeah,
like how fucking different is it? Because so much has been changed over the years. We're going to try to focus on just the changes that have been made for the special editions in '97, but some of that shit might bleed over too.
Yeah, especially if we're talking about something that we think might have changed it for the better.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking for, because a lot of this too is like so many subtle, like very small changes, like
So small.
so small, like the opening crawl. The stars in the background were different from the original cut versus the home video cut. Like, he changed the position of the fucking stars in the background as the opening crawl is going for reasons. And as part of this,
Because reasons.
and as part of the special edition, he changed the stars back for the opening crawl. But using the new crawl, episode 4, A New Hope, because in the original theatrical cut, it was just Star Wars. So you get tiny changes like that as a casual observer, like, we didn't know the fucking difference. Something else like when the Tantive 4 and the Star Destroyer are going over, they use different glow effects for the engines.
Dun-dun.
It's like, no, different movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Dun-dun.
But yeah, they use different glow effects for the movies. Something you'd notice if you were like paying close attention, but I don't remember that when I watched it in theaters. It was just, again, this was the first time I was seeing A New Hope in theaters too. That was another thing that we kind of skipped over.
Right.
Part of the advertising for these was get to watch the original trilogy in theaters again, or for the first time if you missed it.
Yeah.
Which was the case for me. I didn't see New Hope or Empire in theaters. I saw Return of the Jedi in theaters during its first run. So they even had a fucking awesome trailer, which started off like a trailer in the theaters with a small like television and Star Wars going on, and it was a very muted version of the theme going on, and it was the fucking Death Star run scene, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's saying most people have only ever seen Star Wars on a small screen, but now, and then you see an X-wing fly out of the TV, and then dun 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 dun, and it was fucking awesome, so well done. But that was a big selling point for these special editions, was seeing them in theaters again. Which, fuck, there haven't been any real re-releases of the original trilogy since then, right? In theaters? Well, I guess when the sequel trilogy came out, they would do marathons with all the movies in certain theaters, which we never got to see. But
No, we were going to do that with the release of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
It just never panned out. Thank God.
well, the closest one was in fucking Baltimore,
Yeah, it was.
so it's not like it was down the road in fucking Cherry Hill.
It's true, but that would have been so disappointing.
Yeah. So anyway, just thinking about it now, like, that was the last time I saw the original trilogy in theaters, was during the special editions. So sad face. They need to do that again with the theatrical cuts.
Never going to happen. We'll talk about that at the end.
Right. Just looking for some of the more changes. Okay, so towards the beginning of the movie, we get the extended shot of the stormtroopers looking for the droids. You get like the stormtrooper on the fucking dewbacks in the background. You've got like some ships flying around in the background. So this was the first big scene where they added a bunch of shit
Right.
to the New Hope, and this was one of those ones that I didn't feel was very egregious. Though the stormtrooper on the dewback, the stormtrooper himself is CG also, and it looks a little clunky when you watch it. At least,
McClunky? Little McClunky?
yeah, a little McClunky.
I think the same. Like, the problem for me with a lot of the CGI was, again, we're dealing with CGI in kind of its infancy, right? This is before it was really honed. Even, we're talking pre Phantom Menace, right? So it's going to be clunky. And it seems out of place for a movie that we had seen so many goddamn times.
I'm just thinking McClunky now. Like,
McClunky.
every time we say clunky now, I'm going to think McClunky.
McClunky. So I think as we talk about a lot of these things, I think for me that's one of the bigger issues is how does this CGI look in the scene, right? Yes, does this make sense? Like the CGI, like putting Hayden Christensen in that particular scene facial expression notwithstanding.
Right.
Like it didn't look like it didn't belong because the ghost fading and everything else. It looked natural.
Yeah.
To what the presentation was. Dewbacks with fucking Stormtrooper on the back. That Stormtrooper looked like shinier, like a little bit brighter. Like it just didn't look like it belonged in that particular sequence.
Yeah, because that's when you get practical effects versus CG, and then
Right.
you stick them in the same fucking scene,
Yep.
and it just never looks good.
Which, holy fuck, if we aren't the most spoiled sons of bitches from what we have right now with something like the Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian, with a television show. I think we talked about this the other day when we were talking about Book of Boba Fett. A television show that has such amazing practical effects with this CG background.
Yeah, and it
right?
all looks good.
In this fucking dome, right? Which, because they're doing most of it in this fucking dome, right?
Yeah.
And you cannot discern what's not a real fucking background. It's so goddamn seamless.
Yeah, it's incredibly immersive, and these are movie-like budgets that they have for these fucking shows too.
Yeah.
Like you can tell they have to put a lot of money into these fucking shows.
And absolutely it shows, and you almost have to, right? You have to. There's a standard now that Star Wars has. Like if it doesn't meet this particular standard for Star Wars, like I don't think that you could do this now. I don't think that you could go back and fuck with A New Hope and have it. You'd almost have to fucking scrub this down. Like, okay, we're going to go in here and we're going to, if we're going to put this CGI in here, it's going to look dirtier. It's going to have this grit in it. You know what I mean?
Because that's the thing about this CG in '97. It looks too clean.
It has this brightness to it that just like doesn't let it blend in with the rest of what's going on.
It sticks out,
especially in something like the desert.
Right.
This is it's so monochromatic, and then you have like this thing in here with the dewback, and also George doing something because he can, not because he should.
Again,
right?
with the jerking off.
Yeah,
learning the first time, like fuck,
it's everywhere. Fucking the couch. This is George beginning to start fucking the couch.
Yeah,
and it really. It wasn't necessary. We didn't need extra dewbacks in the back of the scene. And as we go a little bit further forward, when we're going to the cantina with Luke and Obi-Wan and the droids, and you have these fucking things walking back and forth as part of almost like the fade, you don't need this extra back and forth. You don't need these extra creatures walking. You had enough with the practical effects. You had enough going on.
Yep.
That to your eye, to the camera, the picture was full. You didn't need all this extra bullshit. Now you're overfilling it. And what is standing out? Well, this thing that's new and it's brighter. Like it's going to jump out at you, even somebody who's looking at it for the first time.
Yeah.
So
now we get into the section of the movie that's probably got the biggest. Oh, my son's texting me. Oh, good. The biggest changes, I guess, is the whole Mos Eisley sequence. When they're first looking at Mos Eisley on the fucking hill. Exactly. Oh, I can never get over that fucking music either. Then when they go down and as they're driving through, you see all this new shit added, new sequences being included, fucking droids everywhere, and fucking like like one droid's like picking up a fucking like a steel beam or something. Another droid flies in, he fucking like slams him. You see fucking big creatures walking through. Oh, the two Jawas on the Brontosaurus as a speeder goes by, and it like, and then Utini as one's falling off, and it's
you don't need it.
Yeah,
You don't need it. This is a perfectly good exercise in, hey, we can do this. And you know what? Maybe in 1997, let's see what this looks like on the screen before we fucking squirt it out for Phantom Menace, right? Because we're going to do so much of it in Phantom Menace. But having seen the behind the scenes for Phantom Menace, they were working on the animation and the CGI well into the production of Phantom Menace. So it strikes me that what they had to do to make the releases for 97, they were doing even before they had the technology ready for the Phantom Menace. So to me, it's just fucking with it for the sake of fucking doing it. Like, oh, I would like to have fucking extra Jawas in here. I want to have extra creatures to show what's going on Tatooine. These creatures should not fucking live. Let's really get down to brass tacks here. Like, what could live on Tatooine? Like, how much could Tatooine actually sustain as a planet?
It couldn't be much.
How much moisture does it actually have?
Yeah.
Like, all right, like we're gonna get into it when we talk about in a few weeks when we talk about like the planet, the cosmology of fucking Star Wars, right? And this is a fucking planet, a desert planet. They're sucking water out of fucking these things that have been, God only knows how long they've been underneath the sand in the desert. These fucking plants. Right, they're pulling the little bit of moisture out of the goddamn air with these moisture evaporators.
Yep.
That they have farmers doing.
Yeah.
Like, you're either importing all your fucking water and food and everything else, so it has massive costs associated with it. You're not sustaining this huge fucking brontosaurus looking fucking animal, right? You're just not. You're not. It's so ridiculous. Like, okay. All right. There's no reason. There's no reason to think about it this much.
Well, trust me, this is not the most egregious thing that happens in Mos Eisley. We get to the Greedo and Han shooting first or not.
Han shot first.
We've talked this one to death already, and there's no way you can ever change our minds. Han's supposed to shoot first. Period. End of story.
Done.
Then after that, you get the Jabba
Moving
scene.
on.
Yeah, the scene where him and Jabba have that conversation, which again, 1997 Jason, watching this on screen in theaters for the first time, thought, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
right?
Hey, here's an interaction with Jabba the Hutt that adds to the story.
Right, because you got to think about it. This is the first new Star Wars content we got in 14 years.
Yeah.
So
no, totally. And oh, by the way, full disclosure, 1997, like the Dave that just got out of basic training, that is basically locked away from his family, thousands of miles away at Keesler Air Force Base, and the only refuge I have right now is Star Wars for something that, and I really hadn't seen Star Wars at all in, except for 1980, 87 is when Return of the Jedi came out.
83.
Fuck, 83. So it had been
14 years.
God, math. I was told there'd be no math, but we're being chastised for not calling it the appropriate dinosaur. Well, it's not a real fucking dinosaur either. Regardless,
yeah.
I didn't have issues with. Like, there was definitely cringy, like, moments while I was watching it in the theater, but overall, I was just jazzed that there was Star Wars.
Yeah, same.
Right? And that was the overall feeling of it.
Yeah,
because I wasn't sitting here like current Dave with Star Wars so prevalent in his life again. This was the reinvigorating of a childhood fascination with Star Wars.
Yeah, make no mistake, the versions of us 25 years ago watching this, we're not sitting there nitpicking it in the theater. It's like, well, Greedo shouldn't have shot first right there. Or this looked like shit and out of place. No, we were just fucking loving it. So, don't get it twisted. We liked it at the time. It's just, as you kind of have time to analyze it and think about it, it's like, oh yeah, that was kind of shitty in the grand scheme of things. But mostly because of the after effects of all this, which we'll get to. Getting back to the thing, we talked about the Jabba scene already. Massive change. The Falcon taking off, fully CG.
Right.
Now these are the CG changes that I can be on board with in the special editions when they do all of the space stuff. The ship's taken off, and then we do the trench run in the Death Star.
Yeah.
Those CG changes, I'm okay with.
Yeah,
and
to
they
a
don't,
point.
Yeah, they don't seem out of place.
To a point. The X-Wing formation stuff that we're going to see a little bit later, like, I think was a little too much. But for the most part, I think they did a good job with the flying sequences.
Yeah.
Because you're limited what you can do with practical effects, right?
Oh,
the
sure.
fact that Star Wars was such a leader in what they were doing with practical effects to fucking have these like space battles and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like having these models, like, and basically cameras attached to these models with making the trench run and everything else. It fucking just sheer brilliance.
Yeah, and make no mistake, you go back and you watch the theatrical cuts of these movies now, they still look great. Like, you watch that whole Death Star sequence from A New Hope, and it still looks fantastic.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
So it didn't need the upgrade, but the upgrades aren't so just like,
I would agree.
you know,
I would
out
agree.
there that's like, oh, this is terrible. No, they're fine. So yeah, so we get them taken off. The next big thing that I have here is when they get onto the Death Star. Well, first of all, when they blow up Alderaan,
Right.
you get the shockwave, which we get again at the end of the movie when the Death Star blows up.
Right.
Which that's fine.
Okay. That's yeah.
I mean, I don't think in the real world, like if a planet is destroyed, you don't visibly see that shockwave pulse coming out of a planet. I don't know. I think you're gonna feel the gravitational effects of it for, light years, but I don't know if you're gonna physically see it. But again,
We'll save that conversation for our astronomy and our Star Wars astronomy
Okay,
episode.
very good. Yeah, we'll put a pin in that. Then when they're running around, one of the scenes that actually made me laugh. There were two scenes in here that made me laugh initially that I have issues with now. The first one being when they're being chased by stormtroopers throughout the Death Star, and Han like starts chasing the two stormtroopers like
Right.
and they come around the corner, and what had happened was the two stormtroopers originally came to like a dead end and then turned around, and then Han comes around the corner, and he sees them with their guns pointed at him, and he turns around and runs away. Well, now in the special editions, he comes around that corner and they changed it to just this massive fucking hangar bay filled with stormtroopers, and they're all looking at him, and he's like, and he runs away and goes around the corner, which I got a good laugh out of that.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't terrible. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it kind of made more sense. In context, made more sense.
And then we had the close the blast doors.
Right.
Because in the original cut, that line wasn't in there. It was just they jumped through those blast doors as they were closing, and then you hear, open the blast doors, open the blast doors.
Right.
Where now they added that line ahead of it to close the blast doors, and then they're like, oh, open it. Which I got a chuckle out of it, but at the end of the day, I'd rather it not be in there.
Yeah. Again, not necessary. I don't know who they were placating, but it's that I'll take that. I'll take that and don't fuck with some other shit. Mm-hmm. But whatever.
Yeah. Otherwise, we had the trench run, CG X-wings. What were you gonna say about the formation?
I just think that the formation of the X-wings was a little extra CG.
Yeah.
CG CG-ified.
Sure.
Or CGS. CGified. CGI-ified.
Yes.
CGI-ified. It was just a little much. It looked fake to me.
Okay.
I mean, they're obviously it's X-wings and they are fake, but these looked fake to me. Mm-hmm. I think it had a lot to do with rendering humans, right? Because they made it a point to like kind of look in the canopy, and because you could see kind of the figures in the canopy and the human oid that was there. I think that's kind of what threw it off. And again, they're a little brighter than they're supposed to be. It was a little too much CGI there for my taste.
Okay.
Again, as the person who's now here with a sharp spoon digging at the fucking thing.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on A New Hope? Because we kind of touched on the major changes. Again, there's a shitload of minor changes, like little dialogue changes, but we're not gonna harp on many of them.
No, those were the big ones.
Yeah, and Han will always shoot first in our hearts.
Facts.
Moving on to Empire. pretty early on in the movie, we're treated to a big change that they made, like new footage that they shot when it comes to the Wampa. So in the original, I think the Wampa was all like a stop motion, if I'm not mistaken. But they filmed new scenes with the Wampa with a dude actually in a costume.
Right.
And, he's sitting there fucking chomping on the fucking Tauntaun after he drug Ed and Luke into the thing, which, I mean, it was practical effects, so it actually didn't seem that bad. As opposed to if like they had done a CG Wampa, then it would look like shit. But they did a dude in a costume, put it in a cave that looked exactly like the original fucking cave.
Right.
And this is one of those changes where it's like, okay, I can be on board with this.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, why didn't you do this in the first place?
Right.
Like, why wasn't there like a guy in a Wampa costume, fucking?
I mean, apparently
hanging out in where were they, in Norway?
Yeah.
When they filmed these in that fucking snowstorm.
I guess, like, cost-wise, like, it must have been cheaper to do a stop-motion animation as opposed to, like, make a costume, hire a dude to be in the costume.
Maybe. I'll tell you, it's been years. I remember when we were thinking about, we were talking about doing this episode. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about, we've talked about some of the changes with special editions before, but I think it was on the old, what was that called? The old podcast, the movie one. What was that called?
Project VCR.
Yeah, I think you had me on, and we talked about special edition differences and things like that. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we ever really talked about it on this show.
No.
God, why am I so congested?
It's the dust that we kicked up today.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, yeah, I totally lost where I was going with that. Fuck me.
Well, we were talking about the Wampa.
Oh, there's a dude in a costume for Wampa scene originally, but it sucked.
Okay. So there was a dude in the costume.
Bronco Fett's got it.
Yep. That's why we lean so heavily on the chat to keep us on the straight and narrow.
We'll display that. I had read I think I've talked about this before for sure. Mm-hmm. The show. The making of Star Wars.
Oh, the books.
Empire Strikes Back.
Those interactive books that you had.
The Apple iBooks versions of the thing. And I don't know if the Kindle versions do the same thing, but there is so much shit in those making of books. Mm. Fucking brilliant. I highly recommend doing that, and I think there was stuff in there actually about these scenes that I just don't. I haven't gone over them so long. Literally, I feel like it's been like a decade since we did those shows.
Yeah, and well, it's been 6 years, over 6 years.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so getting back to Empire, surprisingly, until we get to Cloud City. Not a lot of changes. Like a couple of small CG changes here and there.
So small.
Yeah, so small. Some dialogue changes here and there, but they get to Cloud City, and that's where you really start to notice some of the differences with the CG between the ships and
extra ships in Cloud City.
Yeah,
just the Cloud City,
and the exterior stuff had no problem with. What bothered me about what they did in Cloud City was the internal shots and how basically Cloud City was like an Apple store, right? Fucking like bright white everywhere. Like the walls were all white. It had this very like sanitized kind of feel. And I like that. I like that aesthetic. I liked the way Cloud City kind of felt.
Right.
And in the special editions, they added like fucking windows everywhere. In the background, over the white walls.
Yeah, because they had all this exterior shit that they made up, so you wanted to be able to see it.
Right. But it changed the whole feel of the city. And of course, it looked like shit. It didn't look real. Whereas, like, in actual Cloud City, those are fucking sets that they're running around.
Yeah.
And now, it's like CG in the background.
Yeah.
It looks like garbage.
Yeah, I think the set design in Empire is some of the best that we have in these movies.
Oh, yeah.
And especially, like, you think about on Hoth, like the ice caves and everything on Hoth. Meaning me, may be infatuated with the fucking, some of this scenery, especially for Empire, because of the fucking Battlefront game, right?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
we see a lot of it in the Battlefront game. Plus, Empire is really the first movie I saw in the theater. But yeah, I think that the set design and what they did with a lot of the stuff was so slick and looked so good. And you really only were filming in a couple of different places,
Yeah.
right? You had Dagobah obviously, and you had Cloud City and fucking Hoth, right? That's it.
Yeah.
So fucking have brilliant sets made up for those places, and I think they did a great job with them.
Yeah. And now this too was the first time that I remember sitting in theaters watching these special editions when we're in these interior shots with the new windows thinking, I don't like this.
Yeah.
You know, that was the first time where I actually had a negative reaction to something that was going on.
Well, here's the other thing too. The paint, like I think what we appreciated so much from the originals was all of the backgrounds and shit that they did were hand painted
Yeah.
matte backgrounds that of the planets and everything else, and the level of artistic ability to make those things seem so fucking real, and to put a layer of fucking CGI over top of it is like taking this exquisite piece of fucking steak, right? And it's like, oh, this is the best cut of meat. You know, it is cooked to perfection by somebody whose job is and sole purpose in life is to make this steak, and you're going to take it and put A1 on it. That's what you're doing with this CGI, right? And I think those of us that were kind of grew up with these paintings, because let's face it, they went back to matte paintings for some things, and we noticed.
Yeah.
You know, as Star Wars fans, we noticed, like, holy fuck, we like how they did some of the planets, especially as some of the fly-ins. Like, you're like, holy shit, man! It's so pretty.
It
and
adds
looks so goddamn good.
Yeah, it adds a level of like tangibility to those scenes. Whereas when it's CG, like we said before, you know it's CG. You can tell it's CG very blatantly. But when it's like a painting like that or a practical effect, it looks more real. Even though you know it's still an effect or...
Yeah, slide that practical effect over here.
Yeah. It still feels like you can actually be there and reach out and touch something. So, yeah, there's something to be said about that. Otherwise, yeah, a lot of visual changes around Cloud City, but not a whole lot else. Like, there's really no changes to the Luke and Vader fight. None of the main
because what would you
sequences.
do?
Yeah, because you can't.
Like, what would you be able to change? I mean, fuck, the lighting would be so difficult.
Yeah, no real changes to the Dagobah stuff. There's a couple of things here and there, a couple of CG stuff that they plopped in, but like of all of the movies in the original trilogy, I feel like this one got tweaked the least, which is probably why they did the Wampa thing, because they're probably like, fuck, all we've done is added some CG to Cloud City. What else should we do to change it? Well, let's film a new fucking scene with the Wampa and blah, blah, blah.
And it didn't really, and like you said, the Wampa didn't really take away from it at all.
No. Like, that's one of the scenes where I wouldn't care if it, like, perpetually got left in forever. I missed it that time. Denied. Choked on the open net. Anything else on Empire before we move on?
I hear when you put A1 on a steak that national news outlets report on it.
Dave Martin puts A1 on his steaks. Do you really want to vote for somebody who does that?
I don't know what you're talking about. Was that a thing?
It's like a negative campaign ad. If they ever find out you used A1 on steaks. Anyway, let's just move on to Jedi, shall we?
Yes. Let's. Because why are we going to have the most issues with Jedi? Because most of us, this was the first movie that we saw in theaters.
Yep.
And we're old enough to really have it make an impact on us.
Yeah, remember it.
So, I mean, I saw Empire in theater. However, it didn't make the same impact on me that Jedi did.
Yeah, I was 3 years old when Empire came out. I never would have remembered.
Yeah, I was fucking dressed up to go to fucking Jedi, out standing in line out in front of the fucking theater to fucking go in.
Yeah.
As Luke Skywalker. You know, I was Luke Skywalker that year for fucking Halloween. So it's completely different. This is the foundation, I think, of our Star Wars fandom is in Jedi. So there's a lot riding
There's a lot
on this
to
here.
fuck up because, like, for years I said that Jedi was my favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Like that was my number one movie for the longest time. A lot of it had to do with that seeing it in theaters. But yeah, like it had a long way to fall, basically. And boy, they just got to start it off right on the right foot with that whole musical number, which we've already talked to death. That's a desecration. That's one of the first real instances of George Lucas just like whipping out his dick and pissing right in our mouths. And said, "You will like it the whole time because this is my vision."
I just don't understand why.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it.
So, but we've already talked about that quite a bit. The fucking Sarlacc pit, talked about that already quite a bit, but another significant change with the fucking the new mouth and all that.
Then you talk about like when you sat in theaters and said like, "Oh, I really don't like this," as part like special editions wise. I think was it for me. Was the Sarlacc pit, the fucking the song bit. I was kind of like, ugh, what the hell is this, right?
Yeah.
And I'm still kind of thinking about it. But then when we get to the Sarlacc pit, the fucking buzzer goes off on my head, like the alarm. Like, what the fuck is happening right now? Right? This is not my movie.
Yeah.
Like, it really was. I was like, what the actual fuck is happening right now? With the Little Shop of Horrors fucking Sarlacc pit.
Which, again, in the context of the Book of Boba Fett, like, it makes sense. They actually used it because it was already there.
Sure.
But at the time, it made no fucking sense to add that. Like, what did that really add to that fucking
when
scene?
I was sitting there in 1997, again, reeling from the fucking musical number, and then sitting there and having, I said out loud, the Little Shop of Horrors fucking bit, and I'm like, I had the thought, like, what am I watching? Like, what else is going to happen? Because even I think the lead into Jabba's palace too, you had some extra little bits too with some fucking the frog or whatever. Like, wasn't there like the CGI animal? Yeah. Some extra CGI animals in there for no fucking reason.
Yeah, that dude that was singing, he kind of looked like a fucking half retarded Ewok.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Let's just move on.
Terrible.
Let's just move on.
We already talked about the Sarlacc pit.
Yep.
And it's funny because after the Sarlacc, there's not a whole lot of significant changes until we get to the very, very end. So I know at some point they changed the Ewoks' eyes. I don't think that it came in this iteration. I think it came in one of the DVD releases where if you look at the Ewoks, they do look a little crazy. If you just like watch their eyes, because their eyes don't blink. They're just very like psycho looking. I guess they added CG eyes that actually blink in later DVD iterations of Return of the Jedi.
You know what? I may have been attuned to that at some point in my life, but sitting here right now, I didn't really even think about it.
Yeah, no, I didn't think about it until it was like brought to my attention.
Psychotic Ewoks from Battlefront 2. Have you played that mode?
Yeah.
Where you're fighting against the fucking Ewoks?
Yeah.
And this nightmare scenario where you're a stormtrooper in Endor trying to fucking at night for some reason you have just absolute garbage weapons with dim flashlights and just Ewoks just annihilating you in the middle of the night.
It's a great take on like the fucking horror survival genre.
Yeah. I love the fact that like Battlefront 2 has kept that mode in the game. It must have been so popular. It's just like, oh, well, we're just going to keep this mode in here.
Oh yeah.
Because I know it was in there. It was a Halloween release or something. like back when the game first came out, and it's been there ever since. It's fucking great.
Some more CG added in, like the Death Star run and all that, but like for the most part, that whole last battle sequence was kept intact. No changes really to Vader and fucking Luke's confrontation with Palpatine. Though, in later iterations on DVD and like what you'll see on Disney Plus now is you'll see as fucking Palpatine's shocking Luke and Vader's looking back and forth. Vader's like, no, no, as he grabs Palpatine and throws him over. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you saw how well that went over in Revenge of the Sith.
Yep.
Right? Vader going, no. Yep. So you just, let's just add it here too, because fuck it.
Because why not?
Yeah. Like, it was so powerful in that original cut. Like as fucking Palpatine's shocking Luke's like pleading for help. Vader's like looking back and forth. Like, you don't
let the fucking scene that you so masterfully fucking shot.
Yeah.
Like, let the camera angle, let the fucking scene present itself with the music and every other fucking thing.
Yeah, you didn't
let
need
it work.
Yeah, you didn't need dialogue from Vader. You didn't need it. It was perfectly shot the way it was. Him looking back and forth and then finally just being like, fuck it. Ugh!
Yeah, you didn't need the dialogue.
Yeah.
You just didn't. And yet, here we are. With fucking dialogue where it's not necessary. Because why? Yeah. Because the lowest common denominator? Is that why? I mean, for some of this shit, is that the real reason?
Maybe.
Is it the lowest common denominator? Because somebody sat there and went, I don't understand why he did it. Like, did the no help? Did like, no. What? Did that help you go like, he obviously doesn't want to do this. So he said no several times. So he must not want to do this at all. I don't understand.
That's a great impersonation of somebody who wouldn't know
what is this movie about. I don't understand what's happening right now.
Oh, that's good.
Anyway.
So
this is the stupidest movie ever. I don't know what we're talking about at all.
So one area that was changed that I bet you probably love, I do not love so much, is the ending like celebration sequence.
No, I hate it.
Oh,
I fucking hate it.
Okay, because after Palpatine and the Empire are defeated, in the original cut we get the yup yup,
but it's not like it was replaced with something that was like so far and away better.
Yeah. It was done by John Williams, though. He did come back and compose that.
It was.
The victory celebration theme.
But it was what I don't like about I don't give a flying fuck what's happening on the other planets.
Right.
Because I don't buy it. I mean, if I want to sit there and I'm gonna stop. Like, okay, what's happening on Naboo right now? What's actually happening on Naboo right now?
Mm-hmm.
Do we even know what Naboo is at this point?
No.
We've never heard of it.
Because, and see, that's the thing, though. Naboo, that wasn't added at the end until a later DVD iteration. Well, what we get Coruscant, which we had never seen before. We get Coruscant, we get a couple other planets. I think we get Cloud City. Which
do we get Cloud City? For
yeah,
sure.
And there's like fireworks going off. You see like the fucking the red jets go by and the fireworks going off. Like, who in Cloud City gives a fuck?
Yeah, well, that was the thing. It was, you talked about like all those versions blend together, but the reality is, I don't give a shit what's going on these other planets right now because I don't think you can fairly represent what's going on in the rest of the galaxy at that particular moment.
Yeah,
because later on, when we're talking about like shit, the fucking where is it? The Inferno Squad, right? Where you're talking about the Imperials didn't even know what the fuck was happening.
Right.
This victory celebration that was happening, most of the Imperials were still fighting. They had no fucking clue.
Yeah.
There wasn't this mess like, oh, the Emperor's dead. Okay.
Yeah, guess it's all over.
Yeah. Oh fuck. The ding dong witch is dead.
Yeah.
I guess we're fucking done.
Yeah. No, not quite.
No. Now you have the remnant and there's all this other fucking thing. So to like throw this like, oh, happy ending, like everyone immediately understood that, like, oh, the fucking war's over. I don't buy it. I don't buy the fucking sequence. It has nothing to do with John Williams or anything else. It's just like I don't want.
So your issue is more with the presentation of the other planet celebrating, as opposed to the change of the actual song. Like my biggest issue is the change in the song. Like I like the fucking Ewok song. That's my jam. Why did you have to do that?
What is happening right now?
I don't know.
What is this?
Oh, we got some good chatter going on.
Once again, distracted by the chat.
Indeed. So, but yeah, that was the last big change in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So, again, we could do a whole other show, and maybe we will, of all of the changes that have been made since the special editions. But for now, let's stick with these.
Right.
Final thoughts on Jedi or the whole trilogy as a whole.
For the 1997 release?
Yeah, specifically the 97 stuff.
I was jazzed that it was back in the theater, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a time in my life when you're in tech school for the Air Force, especially for something as highly technical as what we were involved in, right? With avionics, I was in the guidance control fucking shred out. It was basically you're getting a master's level education in fucking electronics and hydraulic systems, and you're all of these things that you never had any fucking exposure to, and you're getting it by fire hose.
Yeah.
Every fucking day for 10 hours. And so to be able to unwind on a weekend and fucking go and have Star Wars and then have a toy release and everything else, it was like this was the perfect time for this to be in my life.
And I mean, quite frankly, I was only a few months removed from that exact situation here at my first duty station, not knowing anybody, not having any friends, like being a stranger in a strange land because a California boy in fucking Jersey, in the fucking Jersey winter, mind you, too.
Right.
Like, I was so out of my element. So going to see Star Wars, like, put me kind of back into that comfort zone a little bit.
It was, the timing was fucking excellent. At the time, I was just happy to have Star Wars again.
Yeah.
I wasn't so critical about it.
Right. I was in the exact same boat. And like you said, it being in theaters was the best part of this whole experience, right? Because getting to see the original trilogy in theaters was a huge thing.
And I know for me, like, if we fast forward to when episode 1, 2, and 3 came out, saw those in the theaters when. Episode 1, when they were going to re-release episode 1, 2, and 3 in the theater back in 2000. What was it?
This was like 2008, 2009 time frame, because this, like, you and I had already met, and we met in 2008.
Yeah.
So this was probably like 2009, 2010 time frame, because they were all going to come out in 3D.
Yeah. So, and I saw. Yeah. So it was 2012.
Oh shit! Okay.
I saw episode 1, February 10th, 2012.
Right.
When I saw it.
And then the Disney buyout happened right after that.
Right
and
after
everything
that.
changed.
Yeah,
like we never got the other 3Ds.
But I got to see. I got to take the kids to go see fucking Star Wars in theater. Mm-hmm. And for me, it would have been worth it to go through the entire sequence again. Like,
oh yeah,
let's walk through this and be able to watch this shit in the theater, because the theater experience is the best experience for us.
And it's funny, too, because I've talked about these Fathom events that I've been going to over the last few years, where they re-release old movies into theaters. We saw E.T., Breakfast Club, a bunch of other shit. Like, why don't they do this with Star Wars? They would make so much money if they just put, like, it could even be the special editions. If they just put A New Hope in theaters, for these 2 weekends only.
Well, they just did that with Empire, I think, for the 40th anniversary.
That's right.
They did do it.
Yeah.
So it's not unprecedented.
But they're not doing it nearly as often as they should.
They could be doing it more often, for sure. But the flip side of that is they've got a lot of other product that they're trying to push.
Yeah.
So, anything that it put out Star Wars wise that's going to interrupt that product, I mean, you're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul at that
Right.
point.
Well, yeah, because they have a fucking Marvel movie coming out every other week.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Some
you can't fucking interrupt the Marvel releases.
Some shit Marvel product that nobody really gives a fuck about.
Yeah, nobody at all.
Nobody at all.
So,
Who cares about Marvel?
so we talked about the best thing that came out of this. That was obviously getting to see it in theaters. Again.
Right.
Now, of course, the worst thing was, and that we weren't aware of at the time, was the fact that George decided that in addition to getting these special editions and making these changes, some of which we didn't like, this is the only version of the movie you're going to get from now on.
Yeah.
That was a huge fucking problem, and there was nothing that he prepared us for. It was just like, no, those theatrical cuts, that's not my version of Star Wars anymore. This is now my version of Star Wars. This is the only thing I'm going to release. The masses pressured him into releasing the theatrical cuts one time on DVD in 2004. That was the only time, and that was the last time the theatrical cuts ever got released onto anything. It was regular DVD in 2004, and he didn't even put it out in like the remastered versions because he was so fucking bitter that people, you know, still wanted the original cuts. That see this thing that I'm pointing to right there, these VHSs, these were the THX remastered fucking widescreen version of the original trilogy, which most purists say that that is the best version of the theatrical cuts out there, aside from like the despecialized editions and all that. But like of stuff that was officially released, that is like one of the best. That and like the laser discs are still very popular in a lot of like the hardcore circles. But he refused to release these fucking remaster versions. It was just like the old prints, just plop them onto a fucking DVD and just
basically the same shit that you would have got on fucking television.
Right.
If you fucking taped it off a TV.
So, and that was it. That was the last time we got the theatrical cuts of the movie in any home video form. And the thing that really irks me is the fact that now we have Disney Plus. And Disney bought 20th Century Fox, who owned the distribution rights to the original trilogy. It seemed like a no fucking brainer at that point that, oh, in addition to all this fucking shit we're going to put on our streaming services, you can have like the newest cuts of the original trilogy still. But as a bonus, why don't we just put the fucking theatrical cuts in there? Because that's what everybody fucking wants, but they're not going to do it. For whatever reason. Like, I have no fucking clue. This must have been some sort of deal that Lucas cut as part of fucking selling the shit to Disney. It's like, you will never release the theatrical cuts on any version again. And they'll be like, sure, whatever, Mr. Lucas. We're just going to, like, shit all over your original stuff anyway so we can push our new stuff.
Some, I think it was Bronco Fett had mentioned in a chat a while back that even the Library of Congress was pissed because Lucas wanted to produce...
Yeah! The original cuts. Yeah, because the Library of Congress wanted all the movies, to be preserved. And he gave them the fucking special editions.
Yeah.
It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
I guess, listen, the motherfucker made this, right? He fucking did this to us, right? So I guess there's something to be said for the fact that he made this so he gets to shit in our Cheerios.
I'm going to counter that with, he thought all of this up. We made this happen.
Well, I mean, it's fair.
It's the fucking hardcore fans that grabbed onto this and fucking committed our lives to being part of this fandom and bought the fucking books and the video games and the movies and the movies and the movies and the movies every time it was released in a new fucking form and all the fucking toys. We made this what it is. And that's the thing that people seem to get fucking twisted, especially these younger pricks that complain about, oh, you older fans, you just blah, 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 blah. No, Star Wars doesn't belong to everybody. It belongs to us who fucking created this phenomenon. Everybody else is just riding the shit that we created with that original fandom of the movies and that just undying fucking support that we gave it over the years. From our childhoods all the way to our young adult years with these fucking re-releases and all the new toys and everything. We were still the motherfuckers buying those. Not the fucking kids of 1997. It was us.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. But he's still fucking. He's the person.
He thought it up. We made it the phenomenon that it is. He didn't.
He also, however, he's the one that fucking monetized it. Also,
he made some good deals. To fucking put some money in his pocket.
Like for the, how toys and everything else got presented. Like I don't think that if he had done the marketing rights and shit like that he did, or the licensing rights that he did, I don't think it would have came out the same way.
Oh no.
But regardless of all that, it's at this point he's probably going to have to die before we fucking get the original fucking cuts.
You're not wrong. At the end of the day, that's the same thing I've been thinking about.
Yeah.
It's probably going to have to be once he dies, then, we might also need Kathleen Kennedy to fucking move on from Lucasfilm, because I'm sure she's like, that was part of like the handshake deal that they made.
Yeah.
It's part of like her becoming part of Lucasfilm. So she's got to go, he's got to fucking die, and then we'll get our theatrical cuts. Hopefully we live long enough to fucking see that.
Yeah. Maybe. Or we won't.
Yeah.
Or we won't. Or we'll just have fucking... What scares me the most is the idea... There's something that lives in the back of my brain about losing something like all of the digital content, right? This reliance on the digital content, and for somehow like losing that, like in some way, like if that plug gets pulled, then what will we have?
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
No. So listen.
No. I made this argument like 5 years ago, and you were making fun of me because of it. I was the one who said, "Oh, I still want to have everything on fucking like physical discs," and you mocked me for it. Because I said, well, what happens if Apple ever fucking goes under and shuts down? Because you were like, "Oh, I got all the movies on my fucking Apple account." So
that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Apple. I'm talking about like Disney Plus.
Okay.
Right. So Disney Plus, the way it exists right now, gives us access to like everything.
Yeah.
Can we buy the Mandalorian seasons?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, I honestly don't know.
I don't either. So something like that, like even if I had, I'm not worried about like I have a hard drive that has the fucking shit that I've bought on Apple.
Right.
Like, I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
What I'm worried about is Disney Plus that has all of this content on it. Even if they gave me the theatrical release on Disney Plus, what happens if Disney Plus goes away?
Right.
Like, what happens to that? Like, it's gone, right? And if the Mandalorian's never, like, on Apple available to fucking buy as a season, which maybe it is, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I never thought to check, honestly, because we've always had Disney Plus since it came out.
yeah, exactly.
So.
That's why we have Disney Plus. And if Disney Plus was smart, they would only give it in that method.
All right, well, we're going to look this up right now, because now you got me curious. I'm going to go to Amazon and see if I can find The Mandalorian Blu-ray. No.
Dragon Buddy says you can buy physical.
I'm not seeing it on Amazon, so...
There are sets for sale.
For sale where?
It's tough, man. If Amazon doesn't have it, it's...
I mean, that's like the go-to. Like, they run fucking everything.
But... Yeah, my issue with Disney Plus, and I love having Disney Plus, and I love having access to everything like that, but then there's like, I'm relying on Disney Plus now for my Star Wars umbilical.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying.
Oh, and I'm sure that's what they want.
Absolutely it is.
Yeah, there's no question that's not on fucking
like
purpose.
The Obi-Wan and everything else. Yeah. Your wife is busting your balls about having it on VHS. I mean... What do I don't have those anymore, sadly. Although I think I've picked them up now since.
Yeah.
Because every once in a while they'll show up on Goodwill and they're selling them for like a nickel because they're VHSs. I'm like, you fools!
Yeah.
And I fucking pick up the VHSs.
Now it sucks because even at Goodwills now, like 90% of what you see is still special edition, even if it's on VHS. So you gotta...
Pretty sure I got I forget. I got lucky the other one of the other times. Yeah. And I have the CBS ones, like the.
Oh yeah, now those ones, those are the
originals.
Yeah,
but yeah. Anyway, it's just food for thought.
Yeah.
The format, I would love. I want to be able to buy like a season of The Mandalorian, via Apple, so that I can have it. And all right, I want to buy this. I want to download it to my fucking hard drive on my Mac or whatever, so that I can travel with it or do whatever, or put it on fucking here so I can watch it whenever. You know what I mean? That's what I would rather have. Instead, I have Disney Plus. That is my umbilical.
You're making me so fucking nervous right now.
It's all right. It's fine.
Jesus Christ!
Don't even worry. Don't even worry about
I
it.
can see, like, I've got this forced vision of soda just going all the fucking all over the desk.
It's diet. It won't short out anything. Actually, it would. It would totally short out everything.
Jesus Christ! All right.
It just won't. Anyway.
Any last words?
No, but the overall site picture, besides the diatribe, is in 1997. The special editions were good for me.
Yep.
And I was glad to have them because it was the catalyst to bring Star Wars back into my life.
Yep.
And honestly, it got me back into the world. Mm-hmm. The world of Star Wars.
And it did that with a lot of people. I was already kind of getting back into it at that point. But yeah, this like really, turned up the volume on that. And they all made a shitload of money in theaters. Each one of these made over $100 million.
Oh, it had
during their runs in theaters, which was fucking crazy.
Had to have.
Like for,
every parent that was like, this is my chance to get my kid in the fucking theater.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff would have been less than a year old. I probably would have, if I had been home, I probably would have dragged him into the fucking theater to see this shit. Just to be like, yes, son, you were in the theater for these. Even though you'll never have any memory of it. And you'd probably cry through the whole thing because it's so fucking loud. You were there.
Yep. So, yeah, it was a great thing to have these theatrical runs again. And hopefully we get something like this in the future. They tried it with the prequels, with the 3D. Maybe we'll get something down the road.
Yeah, we don't need it in 3D, kids. We don't.
No.
It was. We can talk about that later.
Something.
It was a thing.
Something to make an excuse to get these back in theaters. I'd be all over it. Sure. I'd be all over it. I'd drag my whole family out, and it'd be fun. Even if it was the special editions, I'd still go and see them.
Yep.
Because there's a lot to be said about the theater experience.
Agreed.
Next week.
Yes.
We are talking about console first-person shooters. We're going to kind of go into a history of console first-person shooters.
Yeah.
Basically starting with GoldenEye. I don't know if that was the very first FPS on consoles, but it was the first big one that really brought it into the mainstream on consoles. And we're going to take it all the way to current times and kind of talk about the evolution of console shooters. So that's what we have coming up next week. And do you have any more Red 5 shit to talk?
I absolutely do. After our show at
he's doing that
at 2000 or 8 p.m. Eastern. After the weekend, we'll be having some movie trivia featuring the Cantina family member Dragon Buddy, who just signed off with us so that he could go get signed in with that show as one of the contestants. WSTR Media. Oh, I'm sorry. Complete sentence. There was a period. Dragon Buddy after the weekend at 8 o'clock tonight in 15 minutes from now. So tune in, watch that. Excuse me. WSTR Media follows at 2200, where they will deep diving into the music of John Williams from the sequel trilogy. Which anytime that you can talk about John Williams, that's a good fucking time. And I love it. Like we talked about John Williams today. Another big positive about the 1997 releases was there was remastered releases of the fucking soundtracks, and they were fantastic. Anyway, find both live streams on YouTube or just DM Lunar Girl like everyone else does. The Red 5 Network has 34 amazing podcasts. There's literally something for every personality. Browse through bio.link/Red5 or shoot Lunar Girl a DM on any of our socials. She can suggest something you'll absolutely love. That's perfect for you. The Cantina Family Happenings. The Use and Abuse is discussing the movie Don't Look Up tomorrow night. Join hosts Scott and Kim in their live chat at 1900 Eastern on YouTube to find out. Don't look up. What are we finding out? Don't look up.
I'll try not to.
Don't look up. I think John Williams did that soundtrack.
Really? The
Why do
Leo movie.
Yeah, why do I think that?
I don't know.
No, I'm thinking something else.
Okay.
I'm thinking of something else. Sorry. That squirrel. Anyway, yeah, Scott and Kim at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Don't look up. ATSW Escape Pod will be holding a Batman roundtable discussion on Wednesday evening. Dundell Snooch, Brady Big Lovin', and Dragon Buddy will be joined by special guests Joker Voice and General Shinobi, who I believe were both in the chat tonight.
They were.
So get in there and do all of that. Hop in their live chat on YouTube at 19:05. That would be 7:05 p.m. Eastern for you civilians. The Orange and Fett Show released episode 16, our thoughts on the Book of Boba Fett, last week. Subscribe to them on Spotify and give it a listen and be notified of upcoming releases. And Big Swede's on a break, but has plenty of tunes on YouTube to revisit while we wait. Check out some hits of the quarantine sessions at Swede Studios on YouTube. And like I said earlier, Swede, myself, and Helmet Fire were all at Tool last night. And Swede's probably still recovering from all the singing that we were singing along with.
Nice.
Anyway, you can find us at bio.links/the Sidebar Cantina, where you will find all our links to YouTube, audio, Patreon, and our Spotify music mixtapes, and all our social media platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Discord, and TikTok. Also in our bio link is our TeePublic merch shop. We have t-shirts, hoodies, and a wide variety of designs, sizes, and colors. There are also Sidebar Cantina face masks, tote bags, phone cases, and exclusive stickers and pins, just about anything you can imagine. Please tag us with your merch so that Lunar Girl can share it on the socials. Reviews! Do we have any reviews?
We haven't in quite some time. I'll check again, but...
Please write us a 5-star review on your favorite podcasting app, screenshot it, and DM us the pic on Instagram or Twitter. Lunar Girl will mail you some Sidebar Cantina swag, and we will read your review word for word on our next episode. As an added bonus, if you read our review, if post your review on Twitter or Instagram and tag us and at Red 5 Network, you will receive an official Red 5 Network button pin. I got to reword that. That's just a weird way to read that. And that is all that I have.
That's right. That's right. Tell that listener.
So it sounds like for the Orange and Fett Show this week, E.T. and Taco Super Tuesday.
Ah,
for the Orange and Fett Show.
Yeah, E.T., man.
Dave
Good
definitely
shit.
has concert voice tonight.
Like E.T. might as well be a Star Wars movie. It's that good. It's such a similar feeling, tone, and everything. John Williams. Yeah, it might as well be the unofficial fourth movie of the Star Wars trilogy. So, but anyway, we already know what we're talking about next week. If you're watching us on YouTube, stick around. We're doing the overtime, the OT.
That's right.
After this, and that'll be a separate stream on YouTube. And otherwise, I think that's it.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Dave. And until next time, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Clunk. McClunky. Okay, now what do I click?
It's always something. All right, I'm ending the stream. We're going to start the OT stream here in a few minutes. See you guys.